Yes, yes, yes. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Let me welcome my brother here, GMH, in the house. How's it going, GMH, man?
Uh,
We've been talking for a little bit, but let's act like this is the first time we're talking, okay?
Wallah, and I'm doing well, and thank you. I've
Mm.
been gone for a while.
Ah,
I'm
how was
happy.
Turkey? How was Turkey, man?
Turkey was very nice, very nice. I
Yeah.
went there for like working business, but I was
Yeah.
also in Paris for a couple of days,
Yes.
and yeah,
Let's
so
go. Let's
it
get
was
about Paris. How can Paris?
maxaa la yidhaha shaqo iyo waxaan ku jiray
I feel like it's ha.
iyo vacation on the same time.
That's nice, man. So Paris, Patrick, marka حطيتي in
And then Istanbul baan tegay. Istanbul
Istanbul.
in yar baan joogay haddana meel yaroo Istanbul ka shisheysay ayaan 2 cisho joogay haddana waan soo noqday. So then Paris baan soo maray.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's nice.
but qofkii dhoofayo aan inala taliyo,
Hey,
especially North America,
hey.
don't believe anything the airline tells you.
Like
Take
what?
your vaccine and take a test at every country that you go.
Okay, yo, GMH. Since we're going to be talking about predestination today, head, yeah, I don't know if I'm predestined to take the vaccine, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
You haven't taken it yet?
I have not. No, I have not taken it yet. I have not.
Okay.
Are you? Are you vaxxed up?
Oh yeah, I have to.
A lot.
I'm a
Yeah.
health practitioner, so
So you gotta be
amaan
vaccinated.
diida
Huh?
amaan doono waan ku qasbanahay. So waa
Haddaba
qaatay
aan ku
anigu.
weydiiyey, since
Yeah.
you're a professional in the field, head,
Uh-huh.
dadkeenin maxaan ku radaayeynaa Soomaalida dhegeysanaya,
Oh.
bal u yar macnee
Mhm.
the pros and cons of this. Ma safe ba? Because
Mhm.
waxaan maqlay anigu in saaxiib hede waxaan maqlay a
Ha.
vaccine in order
Ha.
to be effective hede
Ha.
it's gotta be at least 10 years research on lagu sameeyo.
Waa run
Maxaa ka sii
technology-ga
kana waa
isbedeshay.
2 sannadood oo qurata laga shaqaynayay.
Horta dhinac maxaa la yidhaahaa vaccine-ku waxaan odhan anigu anu North American deganahay.
Aye.
Dhowr nuuc baa vaccinada jira. Waxaa jira nuucani ugu dambeeyey iminka 2 shirkadood ay samaysay ay dadku badani maqlaan, shirkad Pfizer la yidhaaho iyo shirkad Moderna la yidhaaho.
Moderna haye Pfizer.
Labadaasi sida loo sameeyey way ka duwan yihiin sida vaccinada kale loo sameeyey. Kan Shiinaha ka soo baxay, ka
Haye.
Johnson and Johnson ka soo baxay,
Haye.
ka Ruushka ka soo baxay.
Maxaa ka duwan marka maxaa ka duwan ma qabka loo
waxay ku
sameeyay
kala
mise
duwan
waxa
yihiin sida loo
ha
sameeyey.
haye
Vaccine-ku waxa weeyaan waxaan vaccine-ka tallaal waxa lagu leeyahay waxa weeyaan
ha
cudurkii kugu dhici lahaa wuxuu doonaa noqdo ama jadeeco ama
haye
maxaa la COVID-19 waxaa la soo qaadayaa cudurkii oo wixii cudurka kugu dhalinayay oo
ha
dhintay matalan yaa la soo qaadaya oona noolayn oo jidhkaaga lagu mudayaa kolkaa jidhkaagii baa arkaya wuxuu abuurayaa difaacu iskaga difaaco waxaas kolkaa haddii uu soo galo isagiioo nool haddeed
ha
hub buu haystaa uu wixii kaga hortegi karo kolkaa waxa weeyaan
okay.
waxaa la abuurayaa difaacaaga
Difaacaga marka
tallaalkuba waa
inoculation waxa la yidhaha waa lagu abuuraa
ha
miyaanay ahayn saan u fahmay
ha
haye
ha dee difaac waa kade inoculationku waa taade waa vaccinekaa lagugu mudaayo
okay haye
vaccinekii kolka lagugu muday waxaa lagugu mudayaa matalan
ha
wax vaccinekii u eg oo laakiinse jidhkaagii dhaawacaynin oo
okay
cudurkii kugu abuuraynin kolkaa
oh,
jidhkaagii muxuu samaynaya wixii buu arkayaa difaaca jidhkaaga siduu u shaqeeya waxa weeyaan difaaca jidhkeenu waa ciidan caadiya
sax
kolkay wax arkaan
ha
wax jidhkaaga matalan dhaawacaya
ha
waxay sameeyaan hub ay ku dilaan waxaas because waxa jidhkeena soo galo boqolaal iyo kumaankum oo maxaa la yidhaahaa wax cudurro inagu dhalinaya jidhkaagu ma awoodi karo inuu wax kumaankaasoo dhan u sameeyo maxaa la yidhaahaa hub so
hub wonu
jidhkaagu
marka waana
mar
specific laga dhigo ha
kolkaa waxay jidhkeenu waa very maxaa la yidhaha aad maxaa la waa system aad maxaa la efficient u ah maxaa la
ha
yidhaahaa oo wuxuu jidhkeenu kolkaa sameeyaa kolba wixii uu arko iyo hub u sameeyaa sidaa daraaddeed iskama khasaarinayo hub fara badan
ha
maxaa la yidhaahaa so tallaalku waa waxaas tallaalka dhani waxa weyn waa jidhkaagii oo lagu leeyahay war
isdifaac
cudurkaasaa soo socdee
ha
waa kan waxaan ku tusaynaa siduu u egyahay isagii oo laakiinse ku dhaawacayne
ha
usii samayso hub
okay isku sii diyaari
isku sii diyaari kolkaa tallaalku waa kaas kolkaas sida loo sameeyey aad adigu sheegaysid way yar kala duwan yihiin kan iminka 2 sano kusoo baxeed sheegaysid iyo kan maxaa la yidhaahaa kuwan kale aan kuu sheegayo
haye
technology-ga lagu sameeyey ayaa yar kala duwan technology-guna walaalkay way isbedeshaa sanadba sanadkii ka dambaysa oo sii fiicnaata example baan ku siin iPhone-kii soo baxay maxaa la yidhahaa 10 sano ka hor iyo iPhone-ka imika isku mid maaha
may waa runtaas
soo maaha soo ma
Ahe.
odhan karaysid technologygii 10 sano ka hor iyo maanta waa isku mid kolaa 10 sano ka hor laga yaabaa inaad uu ku soo baxayay 5 sano imika de technologygii baa maxaa la waxaan cilmigii baa inoo biirasoo sanad iyo 2 sano lagu soo saari karaa sida kan loo soo saarayna inii sheego labadaas sano un maaha because xoog ogaal baan nahay meelahani soo saaray ayaan ka shaqeeyaa
waa run haye
sida loo soo saaro vaccine-ka inii sheegay vaccine-ku waxaa loo soo saara sidii warshadoo kale warshadaha waad aragtay xaggaas ayaa laga soo gelin matalan gaari haddaad warshadu ay samaynayso wax assembly line leedahay ayuu gaarigu soo galaa gaariga meel la dhigayaa qof baa shaaga ku xidhaaya gaariguu soo soconayaa qof kale u imanaya qofkaas muraayadu ku xidhaya uu sii soconaya waa assembly line qofkii ma dhaqaaqaya gaarigii baa dhaqaaqaya waa assembly line baa layaa soo maaha vaccine-ka laftidiisu waa sidaas waxaa laga soo bilaabayaa matalan halkaas dhinacaasa technologyga wuxuu ka bilaabmayaa in horta la eego cudurkii siduu yahay waxay dowladda maraykanku samaysay waxay samaysay 10 assembly line waxa 10ka assembly line loo sameeyey waxaa la diidanaa in mid qurahaatun la isku hadleeyo waa hadduu kaasi shaqayn waayo haddana waa in zero laga soo bilaawka kale u shaqeeyaa
sax
so caadi ahaan kolkii hore qof baa maxaa la yidhaahaa 2 scientist baa lab jooga oo ka shaqaynaya maxaa la yidhaahaa vaccine-kan kolkay heer soo gaadhsiiyaan iyo haddana meesha kale la gaadhsiiyo meesha ku xigta stepta ku xigta la
gaadhsiiyo okay so marka waa step by step soo ma
waa step by step laakiinse taasi waxay samaynaysaa like waa adiga arkayda hadday step by step tahay waa lean dheer oo kale kolkaa lean dheer hadduu yahay waxaad ku qasban tahay inaad lean counts daba sugtid waa taa waqtiga waxa maxaa la yidhaahaa dheeraynaysa oo like let's say haddii stepta 10aadi ay xumaato oo vaccine-kan oo kusoo baxay stepta 12aad haddana waa inaad zero kasoo bilowdaa dowladda maraykan waxay samaysay waxaa la yidhi okay scientists oo inaku halkan ka shaqeeya annakuna 10 assembly line baan samaynaynaa 10ka assembly line baan gelinaynaa maxaa la yidhaha waxaad soo samayseen
anu baadina mise maxay ka tahay marka
waxa weeyaan haddii one assembly line uu jabo mid kalaa soconaya because assembly lineadu way kala duwan yihiin stebyada ayaa la kala duduwayay kolkaa kharash badan waa inaad gelisaa halkaad ka abuuraysay shirkad ku dhahaato waa inaad 10 shirkadood abuurtaa oo sagaali ay maxaa la yidhaha successful ay noqon waayaan
okay marka waa trial and error adigu
trial and error but if imagine waxa weeyaan egg you are spending more resources yeah and let's say maybe the third trial your vaccine ka ku heli lahayd so you only spend 3 trials but if you to begin with make 20 trials yeah you're spending 20 times the money somehow and maybe only the third trial but but you've already spent the money and the infrastructure to build the 10 trials look at like the US government we are going to provide you $10 billion build all of these
okay so that's already suspect though GMH that's already suspect you know what I'm saying like hey waxaan ka jawaabi doonaa su'aashan ay kokona weydiisay and then I want to intaan go back mawduuc inta ka noqda doonaya because we can talk about this all day adi kale so we're going to go back to mawduucina but like I wanted you to take a stab at what Coco Jasmine said there there's a lot of side effects with the vaccine by today with women in their period so maxay ka tahay maxaad ka filaysaa adigu what do you think
means this vaccine the COVID-19 vaccine or vaccines in general
I believe what she's talking about is the actual vaccine
this COVID-19
this is
and it depends which and I'm not sure she said I'm not sure which I guess I will be waiting few more years. And yeah, you have the right to wait few more years, but it's the same thing like the topics that we talk about. One of the things that we're saying is like is the trust of experts. This is the issue that we're talking about. Is it like you trust I'm not a infectious disease doctor. Yeah.
It's a bad thing, but this is an actual concern for at least women. What Coco Jasmine said is like, I'm not going to risk my fertility. The fear is real. Whether there's been cases or not, and I'm not sure. Coco can tell us. Like her fear is real, and I don't think she's the only one that's feeling like that.
And I would love to see the data and what she's talking about, and then maybe I could look at it and give her a more informed decision.
That's perfect. Okay, we're gonna get in depth with it, and we'll maybe we're gonna need to have an actual whole show about it. Like because
like you said, what is the topic?
Lucky guy brought us back to what we need to be talking about, right?
The topic was predestination.
Predestination. maxaa yidhahdaan carabtu qadar Allah
qadar bay rahin aw qadar khayrihi wa sharrihi bay welina ku daran
qadar sharihi what he said what he said. So first and foremost, I want to say big up to everyone joining. Sodawada, Coco Jasmine, Magobia, Sodawo. I also want to Sodawa Andoni Safu, which is one of the beautiful souls that I've met on Clubhouse. Sodawo Walashe, Admo Sodawinia. I wanted to say big ups to my bro Durban, another wonderful Sunday buidi, right? And of course, Lucky it's gonna be good. And Callie, she said this topic will be the biggest confusion of all time.
The vaccine?
I think she's talking about the Qadr of Allah. Well, you know what? That's a good question. Callie,
which one?
Tell us which one you're talking about. Tell us which one you're talking about, And GMH, I also would like to take a minute and take a second and introduce you to my brother here, Magobia, Sodo.
How you doing?
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good, but
okay. Ninkan na GMH wala dhahda, ninkan na Magobia wala dhahda, is birthday wakase. Yeah?
Magobia. Muxuu ka dhigan yahay walaal Magobiyadaas?
waa magac Soomaaliyan anigu la soo baxay. bari hore baan sameeyay magacani online baan wada isticmaali jiray PlayStation iyo waxyaalahaas waan iska soo sameeyay soo dadku waxaan ku sheegay waa magac Soomaaliya sin ana soo sameeyay soo waa magac Soomaali
ma adoo dad Soomaali soo sameeyay waa magac Soomaali waa run
at least new nomad knows what I'm saying.
Magobia waa qasal weeyaan
good
marka Callie was talking about the qadar marka waxaad jeclaan lahaa inta saddexdeenu maxaa ka qaadano Sodo Umar, what's up family? Sodo Ultra, what's going on Ultra, how you doing? He's like, hey, Free Somali Minds, aka New Nomad, what's your Clubhouse handle? Yo, Ultra, we were talking, I was in that room with you, I was saying welcome to you. My handle on Clubhouse is also New Nomad. We actually spoke, Ultra. I can't believe you didn't recognize it was me, but it's all good, man. It's New Nomad, Ultra, to answer your question. So Coco Jasmine is bringing us back. She said, well, those who actually question Allah and the absurdity of free will, right? I think she's Dek said Qadr is where people become God. Okay, so let me ask you, GMH and Magobia, since I got you guys here, was that the the reason? Was it the Qadr of Allah that made you guys lose your religion? was it it?
Oh,
because they're saying Qadr is where people become God. Now, marka su'aalooyinka caankaas oo kale markaad isweydiisid dee hawada ka baxaysaa markaas ayay ku leeyahay. Yeah. What do you think about? Okay, first of all, maybe we should maybe I should just kind of maybe play a video and kind of set the stage on what Qadr actually means, what predestination means, right?
Go for it. You're the DJ, sir.
Yeah, so let me quarterback this, and I'm gonna be sharing a video from one of my favorite sheikhs. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. Numan Ali Khan. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he is basically Pakistani boha. He said he claims to have been an atheist and came back to Islam. Anyways, he's but I like his middle ground approach to things, but sometimes that leads him somewhere else. So I'm gonna share this video and see what he has to say about the qadr. So I'll get you guys to go on mute and we'll watch this for a little bit.
Okay.
And we're gonna continue on, and we got some questions here. One of them, which is, I have a hard time grasping the concept of final decree, qadr in Islam.
Several ways. I mean, this can never be a short conversation, as you know. Predestination. If God already knows what I'm going to do, how is it my fault? If God is all powerful, then I'm not really doing anything. Somebody else. And if someone has a hard time understanding that, you know, if it's the first problem, it's if God's under complete control, then I can't be held responsible. If somebody was having a conversation like that with me, the first thing I'd do is slap him. Why'd you slap me? It's like, it wasn't me, it was God's decree. You can't blame me for that because it was predestined.
That wouldn't work.
Would they buy that? Would they be happy with that?
No, not at all.
Because now I'm saying it's not my fault, bro. It's God's decree. They even know that at a practical level, this makes no sense. They know that. But you know why they believe it, or they want to believe that, or they want to argue that? Because they want to do some bad things and they don't want to be held responsible. Just like I just did something bad, and I wouldn't really do that, but I'm demonstrating that they don't want to be held responsible. That's the psychological root of this problem. The second thing I'd share is I have a lecture online somewhere. I don't know how everything I say ends up on YouTube, but I have a lecture there somewhere on the story of Adam alayhi salam. Because the Quran does not make a chapter out of decree. Rather, the Quran teaches the lessons of decree from the story of the first human being, teaching us that if there was any human being that had the right to ask, hey, you already knew I was going to end up on earth. What do you mean I ate from the tree as punishment, I got to go on the earth? You already knew all of that. If there was any human being who could have argued God's decree is entrapment, who could it have been? Adam alayhi salam. We learned the solution to this problem in the Quran from Adam alayhi salam, and his story says that a careful study of his story little by little is very important. And at the same time, you know what Shaitan said? Oh, you planned this whole thing against me. You made me slip. So the one who says God decreed me to slip is who?
The devil.
The devil. The one who says I was the one who was wrong. رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا. We wronged ourselves. Not God wronged us. We wronged ourselves. If He doesn't forgive us and show us mercy, we'll be from the losers. The one who admits his own fault is Adam. The one who refuses to admit his fault and says it's God's fault is
the devil.
The devil. That's what we're learning in the first human being story. No surprise, they call this the oldest problem in philosophy. The devil wants to continue his failure. He wants to inject that virus into us. It's the oldest problem in philosophy because that's Shaitan's problem. Predestination was Shaitan's problem, you know?
We were with our brother Chris, and I don't know if you remember, and he asked the same question to you. We were having lunch, and you gave an analogy, a story. Can you share that with us? Do you remember that?
Sure, I remember the A and the B. Yes, the two lists in a party. Yes, I can share that analogy with you. That's actually the way my teacher explained it to me, because I used to have the same question, and you know, different people are satisfied different ways. I was satisfied with that explanation.
He was satisfied with that also. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll share it with you. Now imagine that I'm throwing a party.
Yeah.
And I make two guest lists, people I'm going to invite. Guest list A and guest list B. Guest list A, it's secret. These are the people I'm going to invite, and nobody knows who's on this list. Nobody knows. It's a secret list. Guest list B is open. And I say to people, if you want to be on B, here's what you got to do. I give them a few to-do lists, and if you do these things, you can get on guest list B. Now here you are, you want to come to my party. You got two options. Maybe I'm on guest list A, I don't know. Or maybe I should try to get on guest list B. If you say, well, I'm not going to bother trying to get on B, I'm probably already on A. You know what that proves? That proves you didn't really want to go to the party that bad. Because you're gambling, aren't you? But if you say, you know what, maybe I am on A, but maybe I'm not. But I really want to go to this party. What should I do? Whatever tasks there are to guarantee my spot on guest list B. This is basically how guidance works, predestination works. Allah decides who's going to go to hell and who's going to go to heaven. There's a secret list. But there's also an open list. Do this, you get on guest list A. And there's some people Allah will decide to guide, they're over here. Amazing thing, you get to the party, guess what you realize? Your name is actually on both lists. And all the people who signed up on B were already on A. And all the people that didn't sign up for B weren't on A either. Meaning Allah mysteriously guides some people, but those are the people that do the right things anyway. Allah mysteriously decides some people don't deserve guidance. Well, you know what? They're the ones who actually don't do anything to deserve guidance anyway. So both of those things, in philosophy you could say it's God's will and human effort. They come together in Islam. They come together. And the way they come together in the Quran, where this whole thing comes from, is actually one word in the Quran. It's in the Fatiha. Iyaka nasta'in. We say the word Iyaka nasta'in, which translates your help we seek, or only your help do we seek. I'm sure you've heard that translation before. The word nasta'in in Arabic is important here. Different kinds of asking for help. I'll very quickly explain. If I had a flat tire and I sit in the car listening to the radio, you walk by and say, hey buddy, could you help me change the tire please? I'll pop the trunk for you. And I sit in the car while you're changing my tire. That's asking for help, but that's a pretty retarded way of asking for help. Now imagine I had a flat tire, I got out myself, I pulled out the jack, I'm trying to crank up the car, but I'm not strong enough. You walk by and say, hey Eddie, you look like you work out, come on, help me out over here. I put effort in, and then I asked you for help. That's called nasta'in. Asta'inuka, I'm putting effort in already, and now on top of that, I'm asking you for help. You know what we learned from that? The only time you and I have a right to ask Allah for help is when we do what first? Put effort in. If we don't put effort in, we have no right to ask God for help. This is what Allah does over and over and over again. The companions go all the way to the Battle of Badr. The angels arrive after that. The angels are not there ahead of time saying, hey, we've been there since 3 o'clock, where you guys been? No. You got to make the effort first, then the help arrives. What happens with Ibrahim alayhi salam? He's thrown in a fire first, then it's cooled. Human effort first, Allah's help later. But both of those things come together. And that's essentially what predestination is. Once you put the effort in, Allah's decree is that you will be guided.
Hey, first of all, Bohol is finest. I want to welcome my brother Bohol is finest.
What's happening, brother?
How you doing, brother? You good?
I'm doing fantastic, man.
That's
nice
awesome.
to see you. Welcome back, GMH.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Is it Manobia, right?
No, Magobia. The N is silent for some reason.
The N is silent. Okay.
Because my brother likes to complicate our lives.
Yeah, I don't make things easy.
So what do you guys think of that? Lucky
Mother Hanun, what do I think? Yeah, this guy needs like a lesson in logic. Yeah.
Okay, GMH, I'm gonna let you go first. Okay, take a crack at it. What did you determine based on what Nouman Ali Khan was explaining to us about predestination? Go ahead.
Nouman Ali Khan is a charlatan. He's using like crooked logic to get to the point that he wants.
Right.
Yeah. It's makes no sense. This is actually the downfall of quote unquote what we call the Islamic Empire.
Right.
It was this question that brought it down in the 10th century, and it was Ghazali who wrote a book about this.
Okay.
And he changed the destination of like Baghdad after that. So if he knows anything about the science and how people were like doing science and inquiry in the 10th century, he would know that it was exactly this kind of logic that got them from like where they were to being Mahalera back in the dark ages. So I totally disagree with him. He's just like doing mental gymnastics, and he's like really bamboozling poor people who don't know how to like maybe argue against these things.
Okay, so he I know personally, if I can say this, I don't even think he addressed the point. I think he just danced around it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what he did. I mean, like he tried to convince people that there is free will, but there's also no free will.
Yeah. So
So he didn't answer the question. So it's like picking and choosing. I think it's like it's a very nebulous trick of talking down to people. You could tell people something and just say this is an uncomfortable place in human existence. Yeah. Right. The issue of free will is very, very difficult question. Right. But like the way he's Samini is charlatanism. It's like just talking down to people and say that كلها الله ينعم سيدي عروت وله اللي عيال عرورته ما يستغفر الله محل Somali عرورته one year in like this. I didn't want to use that. عرورته are more intelligent than us, but people who could not really comprehend this like idea, and he just was trying to like make himself like like smart and like that he thought about this, but like no, Ben. So Coco Jasmine today, I'm gonna wait until he approves things. She's gonna wait for the vaccine, man. I'm gonna wait.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, Coco is not even buying it. Okay. So what do you think of what Lucky said? Imagine desperately needing an analogies to satisfy your doubts in the religion you base your whole life on. That's a very good point. You need these, like he needs these, because always like, I'll give you an example, but those examples never really amount to anything. Those examples are just a whole bunch of bachata salsa dancing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it never gets to that point. So, okay, Magobia, what are your thoughts, man? I don't know if you were watching the video, but
yeah, I was watching. First, I'm just outside first. Is it too windy right now? It kills a little bit.
No, we actually hear you perfectly, Magobia.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we heard you.
But yeah,
perfectly.
It's just like GMH was saying. Honestly, charlatanism is too kind, because what he's doing is doing like magic tricks, distracting you here and there. Don't look at the details. Right. If it was like real logic, it wouldn't be needing all these examples. Yeah, that's okay. I can get that point. But he's not addressing the real issue, like GMH said.
Right.
The thing is, everything is coming from Ilahi. And when that's the case, you have to realize that the amount of effort he's gonna know who has enough of that for him to start helping that person, and then other people he created, he's doing them. So he hasn't really addressed the issue like GMH was saying, and it's also funny for him to use the example of Adam, where Adam didn't question it. Well, of course Adam's not going to question it. This is the story you're telling from your own books. Like, what kind of logic is that? That's a circular logic. You go to the book to find out, you hear the story, and then you say, oh, this issue somebody else raises is not in my story. Well, if it's commercial, like, honestly, why would the commercials tell you all the things that are negative with it? Unless they're forced to, which is the medical examples, but
that's it. Yeah, okay. So this guy here, Galjiri, also known as Kush, big ups, my brother. Good to see you, man. Good to see you here. He's the one that would always have a conversation about the qadar. So Kush, I gotta say, man, you're the one that really like put that. This show is for you, man. So come and join us. But I want to welcome Princess. Is that you? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Princess.
it's Princess.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
سلام فينا.
نود yeah.
Ed. Yeah. So like I was saying, Galjiri, aka Kush, big ups to you, Kazi, because you're the one that kind of, he used to always talk about the qadar or the predestination. So that's why I kind of wanted to make a show about it as well. So go ahead, Bohadle, your turn, man. What do you think? What you watched from?
I watched a little bit of it, but it's all very confusing. Well, it's all very confusing. But I definitely agree with my brother Manobi and what he said, and GMH. GMH حتى وحو كبلابي the 10th century somehow. Like if you look even a little bit earlier, the Muslims among themselves differed. Wahajri, Qadariya, the Mu'tazila. So this was even contentious points even in the early.
Even back then.
Back then, it was like a big issue. But Aniga, if you want to hear my opinion,
I do.
Whenever I listen to these type of things, Aniga, I always try to look at it even earlier than Islam. I try to look at the paganistic Arab lifestyle. I try to look at the pagan origins of things. Right. Arabta, they used to, I'm talking about the pagan Arabs now. They used to believe in this thing called Ajal. Ajal, yeah. Ajal is like a fixed time or something predetermined, and the person was destined to die on a certain date, and they would die, whatever. They believe that rizq or provision was part of Ajal. They believe, and the thing is, this type of fatalistic attitude, it helps nomads survive in harsh conditions. So whenever I look at these type of like creeds and ideas, I always try to go back to the origins of when it started, because a lot of these things were incorporated into Islam, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The beliefs of the early pagan Arabs, most of it was incorporated into the religion of Islam. We spoke about the Hajj rituals, right?
Right.
So that's just what I think at the beginning, but obviously there are far more confusing things that
I just thought he didn't even address the whole point. Like the whole thing of having two VIPs.
No. Forget that. If you
that was funny to me, anyways. Yeah.
If you look at the Salafis and the Wahhabis, they've even got more levels, more categorizations, more types of qadr. I don't know if you've heard of they call it the legislative qadr, and then they call it the universal qadr. So they even come up with their own categorizations.
Right.
It's interesting that something so simple, you need so many types, so many categorization, just to explain it to lay people.
That's it, and so many examples. Like he seems to have examples upon examples from a slap. Or first of all, why start with a slap? That's fucking violent. I'm looking like, oh, you don't believe in the qadr of Allah? I slapped him. Okay, why be violent? Why can't we not just talk, man? Like I slap him kulaha and then say, oh, that was the qadr of Allah.
I think
so. You don't believe in the qadr of Allah?
Why he started? He's a wife beater, she said. So
so this guy, no. I don't know who was saying it. I think it was Cali that was saying it.
Yeah, someone said that he beats women.
He was sexting this guy. He was sexting. Yeah. He was sexting and everything. Yeah, I swear this is the guy who got caught sexting and sexual harassment charges. Yes, he was. That's absolutely true. So, but I like him for his middle ground approach to things. That's why. But I wanted to give my sister Princess a chance to say her piece. But first, please, let's welcome Lucky to the pitch. Hey, Lucky, how you doing? You're good? I hope you're good. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Princess, I want to hear you. What are your thoughts on predestination?
Qadr.
The qadr of Allah.
I think when people say that this God planned it, I say like, how about children dying from like disease, poor people?
Right.
What about them? Is it God's plan? Yeah, that's God's plan. So that was like one of the red flags of this religion, of like, what kind of God plans this shit on anyone? I'm not going to believe that.
Yeah. That's the planners. Hey?
Yeah, that's what I believe. Like, I'm like, nah, I'm not believing that.
But that's the thing. So did you listen to what he was saying? What Noor Alikhan was saying? And what do you think he was doing?
Who?
Numan Al Khan, like the guy that was talking right now on the video that I played. What do you think his issue was? What is it that? Do you think he explained it? Do you think he explained predestination? Is essentially what I'm asking.
No. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so Lucky, I want to hear you. What are your thoughts on predestination and qadr of Allah?
Yeah, I wanted to add on to one of the guys who were talking. Sorry, I don't remember the username, but they were saying something about how this is a logic that used to work on nomads that survived harsh conditions.
That's GMH. I think it's GMH that said that.
Yeah, I think that is my main focus on it, because it is like an outdated outlook. You need to, in order to survive, you need to be devout, and then you get something in return. I think that outlook used to work very well on people because it was a simpler life. It makes sense. I do something, I get something back.
And we didn't have cable or internet back then.
Yeah, and for me, what always baffles me is that it's 2021 and people are still believing I give something, I get something back. I don't understand how this has survived so long, but it makes sense. Obviously, you get taught that at a young age, but as you get older, I always think about the really well-educated Muslims. Like, there's no way this works for them. that's what I believe. Like there has to be some sort of emotional coping mechanism to force this idea to still last within them.
So you're saying they're holding on to it without believing in it? Is that what you're saying?
I think
there are a bunch of munafiqs?
There's a cope that exists that's causing these people to still believe this, because it makes so little sense that you feel like something else must give. But like, it could be the fact that there's so many, like the whole 1 billion, 1 point something billion. Maybe that factor really does work on people. Like, well, I gotta believe it because there's so many of us. It works for so many of us. So
but you know what I always say to that? Also, does that mean that the number of people that believe in something make that thing true? And if so, then Christianity is more true.
I wouldn't want to come across like the really unhinged ex-Muslim. It's a cult. But the more I listen to these points of views, the more cultish it sounds.
It sounds
like, yeah, you're unlocking something. You'll get that answer once you become more devout. But how do you become more devout when you have those doubts? It doesn't make it. It doesn't really match
like Coco up. Says, it's like blind faith, right?
Yeah. But how do well-educated people, like, I'm not saying you have to be well-educated. You could be a regular person and still find the flaw in this. But it seems to me people who have so much life experience and they know life doesn't work like that, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I feel like like someone said before I joined, that he's, what did they say? Scarlet? What was the person calling them? He was saying he was fancying it up the way he was saying it. So in such a charlatan, like that it turned into a big circle and just ended up in the narrative that he wanted. And a lot of people will fall for that because they need that to survive.
Okay. So I wanted to throw another question at you guys. Because there's anxiety that comes with it. Because like I don't know about you guys, but like the way I function in my brain وحويا هذا عم بروح about قرني one خبا one scope صدا one قرطة حتى نقرني there is inevitably anxiety because I have not I haven't categorized it. I haven't, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to say, is there anxiety that might come with this whole predestination thing? Do you think people might be feeling some anxiety? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would say yeah.
Yeah. So by the way, Kali is mentioning, she said, can you guys go into the story of Kibir in the Quran? Who knows that story? I don't think I'm familiar with that story.
Qadar in the Quran?
Yeah, she said Kibir, right? Kibir? Oh, Qadr. Oh, Qadr. Oh, Qadr. What's Qadr?
Like Qadar Khairi wa Shiri.
I think Surah Al-Kahf, yeah.
Surah Al-Kahf, the kid that was killed because he was destined to do evil. Oh,
she's right. Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Yes.
Everyone knows that guy. I don't know him. I want to know that guy. Bohod, can you please tell us about that guy?
Yeah, no, Princess, do you know how to explain this? Can you explain this to us?
Yeah, I can explain it.
Okay, hey, go for it,
Princess.
So
it was this guy.
Hey?
It was this man. He like murdered 99 people.
I
think, yeah.
No.
That guy. And then
it's different. I think she's referring to the story in the actual Quran. The 99 guys.
Hadith. That was a hadith, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Buhad. Do you know which one it is?
It's in Surah Al-Kahf, but I'm not familiar with the story now.
Okay, let me look it up at the bottom. It's a story of
she said.
Musa and the Traveler.
And the Traveler. Story of Musa and the Traveler.
Oh, while you're looking it up, I have like a couple of things to say on the question.
Go for it, GMH. I'll mute myself and I'll go do some research.
Yeah. So the first thing is like you were asking about like, do people is this idea of qadar? Is it a raft? Is it like a safety raft at a place where they feel anxiety and uncomfortable? So I think yes, the whole idea about Mahala, the supernatural, this Mahala celestial dictator, is that, if you are at a place where you are uncomfortable, this story gives you comfort. You have to be very courageous to say I don't know in a place that is very uncomfortable, which is where we are right now, because there's a lot of things we say we don't know. So I think, yes, there's a lot of anxiety in these people. But I think some people say, people who studied the mind and the theory of mind, they say religion is like a virus, something that evolved with us, that we needed at a certain time in our evolution as Homo sapiens. And it was like a symbiotic virus for a while, but now it's not. It's like the same as COVID and all these other viruses that we carry. So that's, I think, one of the reasons that you see out of the 7 billion people that live on the planet, like majority of them are like religious. Yes, it's not only Muslims that believe in like predestination. Yeah, Christians believe in it, Hindus believe in it. So this idea of predestination, I think, is kind of speaking to the human mind and how humans are uncomfortable at a place where they don't know what's next. It's a way to like comfort themselves.
So you think believing in it is kind of like a survival instinct?
You're cutting off. Well, I didn't hear what you said.
Hello.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Can you?
I was saying. So you believe that believing in religion, for some people, is kind of like a survival instinct. It's something ingrained in some people, and it can't be because to describe it as a virus, it seems as though it can be taken out of them, something that they live with forever.
Yeah. I don't only believe it, but I could tell you experiments that people have done, and I don't know if you've heard of theories called the God spot. There's a part in our brain that you could zap with something called TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, and if we zap it, you could either go one way. You could either become super religious and feel that you're one with the universe, or you could just like jump off and say like, fuck this shit. Why was people not telling me about this? So it depends how you like manipulate that part of the brain.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, true. Religion is like, back time, they didn't have like technology. They don't know how to explain how this volcano erupted, why water is coming out of the sky, why is there a big ball of orange giving them light and something. So they need like, human mind. They're like curious. So someone just made up like, okay, this is the volcano erupted because God is mad. Of the earthquake is because something about God, like just making up things in order to survive and keep their mind out of like confusion.
But that confuses me more, because if more education or more realization of why things happen on the earth happen, like people learn why those things happen, why would people still cling on to the olden ways? It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I mean, how hard does a coping mechanism have to be for people to still adhere to something from so long ago? Like,
yeah, I think what happens with people is like that, and that parameter or border of our knowledge moves. So like today, a lot of people won't argue with you about the earth revolving around the sun. Yeah. But a lot of people are going to argue with you about what we're talking about, like this predestination. Does everything happen because of a will of a dictator in the sky? Or does it happen because of rules of science? That's a different border of thinking. Yeah. So whenever you reach these borders, different minds and different people in different times, there are only two ways that you could like maybe address that. One way is through saying, oh, I don't know, and maybe I need inquiry. I need to do more inquiry. Another way is you'd say, oh, you know what? It's that guy up there. And so it's the border moves. And to some people, the border is like really back there. So for our people, they haven't even, their border is not even in the horizon. Things people have like settled long time ago, man. Yeah. So that's the thing.
And also, I think the best way to control people is through fear and hope. Does that make sense? So you need to provide a lot of fear and also a little bit of hope at the same time. Definitely, this whole other thing. There's a hadith that I put into the back chat. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's called the hadith of the 40 days. Listen to this here. So apparently, on the 40th day or whatever, an angel is sent to you, and this particular angel is commanded to write down 4 things. He's commanded to write down your sustenance, your lifespan, your deeds, and whether you're going to paradise or hellfire. So I don't understand when Muslims see this hadith and then they try to spin it and not make it fatalistic. I don't understand how the two things can go together. But I definitely agree with you, GMH, that anxiety, that's what it creates. It creates a lot of anxiety for people. If you look at even the end of the hadith, it says that you could be basically doing good for most of your life, and then last minute the qadr takes over, and then you entered into the fire. And the opposite is also true, where you could be doing evil for your whole life, and then last minute the qadr takes over, and then you end up in paradise. So to me, I always question how much, if you're in the religion I'm talking about, how much human autonomy do you have? How much free will? How much responsibility do you have? So to me, it's been something that's always made me confused. And let me add one more thing as well. Say, for example, you do something in this world, okay? If you do something in this world, but then for whatever reason, you're sent to the hellfire. I look at it like this. You did a finite action, okay? You did a finite action, but then you are to be punished for infinite amount of time. The example would be like, I don't know, man, it's the equivalence of, I don't know, you're littering and then you get sent to, like, I don't know, death row for littering. To me, it doesn't make sense.
Or stealing something and getting your hand cut off.
Yeah, so it sounds like North Korea.
Yeah, it's finite.
Yeah, even North Korea is like, yeah.
So this is this.
So worse than North Korea. At least North Korea, you could die, yeah? And then the dictator can leave you. For this one, you die. Nobody leaves you.
So the case that I'm looking at is finite versus infinite punishment. Yeah. So I was going to add that.
There's a way I think about this, and this is the way I think about it. And this is one way that I think I've talked to a lot of believers. They try to brush it off. So I asked them, listen, okay, we'll take your presupposition that there is a deity and they have the power to dictate everything. So everything that you do, they dictated it. Let's not even argue about like if it was wrong or right or if I go to hell, but I tell them, but by rule, there's like something that's called miracles. The idea of a miracle is like God intervenes in the laws that he set. He set laws, qawanin budigay, for physics, for this. And when he intervenes, it's mu'jiza, it's a miracle. Yeah? So if he's intervening at every little thing, which is his will, so everything is mu'jiza kulka. Yeah? Because he's breaking the rules, man. Like, because he's intervening in every little thing. If he intervenes, it's a miracle. So are we living in a world of miracles all the time? And they're like, what do you mean? How did you get that? Like, I was like, so I tell them, like, think through things before you like even like talk, and like you have to like really contemplate things, and that breaks the something that is intervening in every little thing and is like dictating the will of what you do at every little moment.
That's true. Magobia, is that I don't know, you changed your DP. Is that Kibir? Who's that?
It's Ice Cube.
Are you serious? Ice Cube has finally seen the light?
No. There was an album I came across a while back of a bunch of celebrities in like Arabic gear. I always thought this was hilarious. I put it up on Clubhouse every now and then, and people are like, "Oh, you come back to the Deen, you came back to Islam." I'm like, no, just look at the picture. You don't know these celebrities.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But yo, I think I saw it in Buhal Swanis. You were right. It is Surah Al-Kahf, and it's to be precise. This is verses 60 to 82, and that's the story of Moses and Khidr. So it's like Khidr, Kali. Just FYI. Verses 60 to 82. So I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the first, 60 verse 60, and says, and parentheses, and you guys know what that means. They added that, right? And remember when Musa said to his boy servant, quote, I will not give up until I reach the junction, or I will not give up traveling until I reach the junction of the two seas, or until I spend years and years in traveling. That's Surah Al-Kahf 60. And then after that, Moses said to him, Khidr, may I follow you so that you teach me something of that knowledge, guidance, and true path, which you have been taught by Allah. And then Al-Khidr replied, verily, you will not be able to remain patient with me, O Moses. I have some of the knowledge of Allah, which he has taught me, and which you do not know, while you have some knowledge which Allah has taught you, which I do not know. And then Khidr again says, verily, you will not be able to have patience with me. Verse 68, and how can you have patience about a thing which you know not? So then it says, O Moses, my knowledge and your knowledge have not decreased Allah's knowledge, except as much as this sparrow has decreased the water of the sea with its beak. These people gave us a free lift, but you have broken their boat and scuttled it so that as to drown its people. Didn't I tell you that you will not be able to remain patient with me? And then Moses said, call me not to account for what I forgot, and he not hard upon me for my affair with you. And then after that they said, then they both proceeded till then they both proceeded till they met a boy. He, Khidr, killed him. Prophet Musa said, have you killed an innocent person who had killed none? Verily you have committed a thing, nukra, a great munkar, prohibited evil, dreadful thing. Al-Khidr replied, did I not tell you that you cannot remain patient with me? If you had wished, surely you could have taken wages for it. Then they both proceeded till when they came to the people of a town, they asked them for food, but they refused to entertain them. Then they found therein a wall about to collapse, and he, Khidr, set it up straight. Musa said, if you had wished, surely you could have taken wages for it. I don't know why they want to gamble so bad. But essentially, that's okay. Sorry, there's last bit. Then they found one of our slaves on whom we had bestowed mercy from us, and whom we had taught knowledge from us. And I did them not of my own accord. I think that was it. Yeah. So
yeah, I remember this story now.
Do you remember the story?
Yeah. But yeah, it was basically like this guy who knew things that Musa didn't know, and he was doing things that were counterintuitive at the moment. So it's like Minority Report. You remember that movie with like Tom Cruise? Yeah. So it was saying that, like, I don't know, like, what was the wisdom in that story, but it was saying that someone, like, you may not know everything that's good for you or good for the moment, but God knows, or something like that.
Yeah, well, it just contributes to the confusion.
Yeah.
So what Kali is saying intrigues me right now. The funny thing is, just like Bohol Isfanes is right, that the story of Khidr, like most Islamic thing, is a pre-Islamic pagan Jewish story meshed into the Quran. I would love to have the original, Kali. If you have a reference or anything like that, I'd love to see it. Khidr was the OG Black Air Forces in the Quran. A menace to society. Funny you should mention that. That movie, I just watched it this morning, actually. A Menace to Society. I watched A Menace to Society this morning. I said it. So yeah, I would love to see how pre-Islamic this is. Bohal, do you know this, Miss? Like, Kali seems to think that
she's right. She's definitely right. Like I don't know exactly how or where they meshed it from, but definitely because the Prophet himself he used to sit with the rabbis and the monks amongst the people, and they used to give him a lot of information. So she definitely has a point. In fact, give me a second. There's another man. I'm going to find that. There's a man that the Prophet used to learn from. Okay. I'm going to find out his name. Just give me a second, okay?
Waraqa ibn Ma?
That's the guy. And then
Waraqa ibn Nawfal. He's a Jewish
Waraqa ibn Nawfal, he was a Salaf, actually. And that's Khadija's uncle, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then when he
he was Khadija's uncle, bro.
Yeah.
But he was Jewish.
Christian. I think he was Christian.
Was he Christian or Jewish? Like,
I'm pretty sure he was Jewish.
People of the book or whatever.
Was he Jewish? Okay, so Magobia says Jewish. Yeah. I think he was Christian. Princess, what do you say? Princess, do you know if he was Jewish or Christian? What's his name? Waraqa bin Nawfal. I thought he was always a Hanaf.
Yeah.
I don't know, sorry.
You know?
Do you know what's the ironic thing? Yeah, when he died, apparently the revelation stopped for a while.
That's when Muhammad wanted to commit suicide. That's when he became suicidal.
Some people say that people say he got confused for the angels, so they question like if this other character even existed. So there's people that are trying to like muddy up the story and go back and forth. But the real thing is, at the time, the Quraysh and the Meccan people were calling Muhammad Dakta, or the ear, because he believed everything he heard is what they were saying, and that was the.
Well, it's not that he believed everything he heard. This guy was repeating everything he heard. So I don't know if you guys have read what's it called, Salman Rushdie's novel, Satanic Verses. Mm-hmm. But in there, he actually mentions how a lot of what Muhammad was saying was from the Nestorian.
He's Christian.
Who's Christian, ma? He was basically talking about is Christian, yeah. So he was talking about how the Nestorian Christians were the ones that would be the keepers of the oases in the desert. And as we know, Muhammad was a caravan runner, right? Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like he was an old day trucker. So you know how there's truck stops now? Mm-hmm. You know, when the truckers are going on highways and stuff, that they have stops. Mm-hmm. So those stops used to be run by Nestorian Christians. And so he proved how some of these stories can easily be found in Nestorian Christianity, which was back then. So Muhammad was called the ear because he would not just hear he would believe what he heard, but he would also repeat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Muhammad was the original Apple. He never invented anything. He just made things
he was a Napster.
Yeah. He was very good at like taking it and making like iPads and iPhones and things like that, things that people invented before him.
Right.
It's in the Quran, actually, isn't it? Like there's like an ayah, Rihlatu Shita, it was safe. You know, like in the summer he would go up to like Jerusalem, and in the winter he would go down to Sana'a, the two big Mahalara civilizations. I mean,
that's it.
Yeah, and even people say, I mean, like, isn't like, I don't know if you guys know this well, but wasn't the Quran really written at 930, like almost 300 years?
Well, I think it was compiled. I think Muhammad had scribed. But hold on a second. I think this is my brother Galjiri Kush. What's going on, Kazi? How you doing, man? Welcome, man.
I'm good, man. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly, bro. How you been? You been good?
I've been a minute, good, bro. Yeah, man. It's been a minute, man.
Yeah, man. How you been? Well, you know what? Like I was saying earlier, man. Like you're the cause of this stream. You're the one that
subject. Yeah.
You always talk about predestination. So I want to give you a couple of seconds, man. Say your piece. What are your thoughts on predestination?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of holes in it, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
Holes in the narrative, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of holes in this whole Qadr of Allah, man. Where do I start, man? Well, first, like, they believe everything's predestined. Obviously, everything's written in it,
right?
Which is, I don't know. It doesn't really correlate with, like, it's a bit of like an oxymoron, bro. You know? I don't know, paradox kind of with the whole free will and. You have some sort of will outside of God, God willing everything for you. Do you get what I'm saying? But what was I gonna say?
But it doesn't coincide with what actually happens, because you can't say I guide you and I misguide you at the same time. You can't
it's a bit,
wash and dry your hands at the same time.
Yeah, they I don't know, they need to pick one. Either it's God's plan, either it's not. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
What is it? Yeah, man. I don't know, but
they gotta pick a side, right? Like Biladin, Kula. Yeah. You know what I love about Somalis, bro? We're creative mofos, man. We're super creative. Biladin. I was reading Bilal. I don't know why. Biladino. It's funny, man. Free will, predestination paradox. It is a huge paradox, isn't it? It's a huge paradox.
It is, yeah, man. It really
It's
is.
nuts, man. But you know who spoke about you know how I was talking about the anxiety that comes with that, because I think there's an anxiety that comes with it, right? So I wanted to kind of show a little video of our favorite Sheikh, Yasir Qadi.
Okay.
You know, man, this is Mahala cognitive dissonance. I can't have a favorite and Sheikh in the same place, you know?
Waria. It's the qadr of Allah, okay? Who are you to go against the qadr of Allah? Okay, so
but it doesn't really like, can I just finish like off what I was gonna say? It doesn't really, I don't know, there's like obviously they believe God is omniscient, he foresees everything, he's foreseeing everything, yeah, he knows everything. But it doesn't, like when you apply with the whole qadar, it doesn't really make any sense, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
like
because it's
he's foreseeing everything, yeah, like what's the purpose for all of this? He knows the answers to everything, he knows it all. Like their religion really doesn't answer any questions in reality, do you know what I mean? It leaves so many questions up for answer.
What do they tell you if you ask a sheikh? Have you ever asked the sheikh? What are their answers?
Yeah, no, they say we don't. Like honestly, I haven't had any answers from sheikhs, man. They say,
well, you can't. I mean, they're not going to give you something we haven't thought of.
Yeah, they don't have give anything. Me the weirdest things. I mean, like, because I argue with them long, and then at the end they say, you know, if you do bad shit, it's your fault. If you do good shit, it's Allah's will.
How convenient for Allah, man. You know, if I was a boss, that would be like all the good results of the company are mine. Yeah. All the bad things that are in the company are your fault. The workers, like, it don't make sense anywhere else.
Yeah. I keep on telling them I want that contract. I know, but when they say that, it's like, how do I get that contract?
Yeah,
exactly. So, it's like you know, when we're saying thanks God to the and when the doctor accomplished the surgery, and then instead of thanking him, you'd be like, "Oh, thank God."
I know if you're the doctor, you're like, screw you, man. Like I shouldn't have taken that kidney or whatever, you know. It's like, screw you.
But if the doctor loses, his license will be revoked.
They can get sued. You're right.
There's consequences. Exactly. They will even sue him.
Maybe that's the best way to describe the qadr of Allah, princess. Maybe you just hit the nail on the head. Maybe that's what it is, right?
Yeah,
it's like an incompetent doctor.
It's an incompetent doctor.
Exactly.
Or an incompetent God.
Like it just doesn't make sense. Like it's just so contradictory. One time it's like God discerned it before you were born, like billion years ago, before God made all of these things.
Yeah.
God like planned your life and like every part of it.
Yeah. My answer to that is like, this God doesn't have work to do? Me?
Yeah. I was listening to my young son and his cousin discuss which one is better, right? One likes Batman and one likes Super Spider-Man. They really sounded like two religious people debating. Like in my own messed up head, Batman is saying he's the best. The other one thinks Spider-Man is better, and they're discussing, and they each have a book. They got comic books, you know what I mean? They each have a book, and they're referring to it and saying, "Yeah, but Spider-Man can go between buildings, man. It's, you know, Batman just sits on top of them." And that really, and it was hilarious. I started laughing by myself, man. But I wanted to do. I know that I'm doing the video again. It's a 2-minute video from Yasir Qadi, battling the anxiety in the belief in Qadr. That's what it's called, actually. So let's see if we can just see how.
Brothers and sisters, I have an amazing 3-for-1 deal for you. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
3-for-1 كلها. Okay.
belief in predestination. It is an immense relief to us to believe in qadr. When you believe in qadr, the world becomes much easier to live. When you believe in qadr, subhanallah, your heart is content. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لِكَيْ لَا تَحْزَنُوا عَلَى مَا فَاتَكُمْ, so that you don't be worried about what you didn't get. So that you don't be worried about what you didn't get. What you didn't get wasn't meant for you. As the Prophet ﷺ said to Ibn Abbas, no, my dear nephew, no, my dear son, know that whatever you did not get was not meant for you. And whatever happened to you could never have been averted. The pen has been lifted and the ink has dried. Whatever happens is the qadr of Allah. Allah tells the hypocrites in the Quran, those hypocrites after the Battle of Uhud were saying, oh, if they stayed at home, then they wouldn't have been killed. Allah says in the Quran that if they stayed at home and their death had been written for them, they would have left their houses and they would have met death on the battlefield. You cannot change the qadr of Allah. You cannot turn around what has already happened. It was destined, it was pre-decreed, and it was something Allah had willed. We use qadr, memorize this phrase, we use qadr to console ourselves about the past and not to justify the future. We use qadr to console about the past and not to justify the future. The Prophet ﷺ said that when Adam met Musa, when Musa met Adam, Musa in the afterworld, he met Adam and he could criticize Adam. And he said, oh, our father Adam, why did you eat of the tree? And why did you get us expelled from Jannah so that we are now living on this earth? And Adam said, oh, my son, don't you know that Allah had written 50,000 years before he created me that we would live in this earth? So how can you criticize me for something Allah had predetermined and decreed? And the Prophet ﷺ said, فَحَجَّ Adam Musa, that Musa won the argument against Adam. Adam won the argument against Musa. Adam won the argument against Musa. Adam did not justify the sin via qadr. He justified the calamity of coming down to this earth. And he said, it's not my fault. Allah had predestined that mankind would be on this earth. How can you criticize me about something Allah had predestined? The past is the past. It was predestined. It was Allah's qadr. You could not have changed it because it was already written in stone. So fine.
You could not have changed it because it's the qadr of Allah. Okay, I want to welcome my brother Isa Cobra. So do walaalka ii waran sanad maha. Isa, can you hear us, bro?
Hello?
Wana maqasha.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, man. Can you hear us?
Waan islaam khayart.
Waan kaa qaaday.
I'm a bit late and I'm eating in the background, so
it's all good, man. Don't worry about it, man. It was already written. This was written, Neho. Don't worry about it, man.
Turkish kacawada.
So my brother Isa is a Muslim, like an in Manfuran, who's actually willing to discuss. So so the way
secular Muslim, let's just say that.
Secular Muslim, that's it. That's I like that, man. I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll give you the first stab at it. You were listening to your Yasir Qadima. We cannot change what has been decreed by Allah. How do you resolve Isa? Let's get serious.
You're already targeting me, huh?
No, I'm not targeting you, bro, because I'm sure the winner. Already, so you can't go against it, no. So I'm gonna ask my question.
Well, you put me on the spot, man.
Okay, I'll let you be. Let me
have a thought. Let me have a think, and I'll listen to the other.
That panelist. Not a problem.
And then afterwards, I'll put my thought in.
So like cool. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here, Kazi. Princess, what are your thoughts? You're laughing in the background. What do you think of what Yasir Qadi was telling us?
It was ridiculous. And actually kind of cool about how like the qadr is like consoling. So it's like a real life story that like happened to me. So this woman in my neighborhood, she like lost a child, twin kids. After she gave birth, it was like health complication. And then the children died, which means she was like really devastated. and was so depressed and crying. And you know, I'm not even religious, so I talked to her. I pretended that I'm religious, and I used like this qadr thing to her. I'm like, you don't have to cry, you know, Allah meant it this way to happen. Allah gave you like 5 kids. Now you lost 2 others. You have to say like Alhamdulillah, Ilaahay u noqo, and Ilaahay Alhamdulillah leh, maaragtay u tuko. You have to be grateful. You know, you lost these 2 kids. Allah gave it to you, and now He took it back. Now they're like in better place. They're in heaven. They're doing amazing. You know, now be grateful. Like, you know, look at other people. Some couples, they can't have kids. They're like infertile. And many people like don't have mothers. Look, you have 5 kids. Allah gave it to you and destined it to you. Appreciate them. Stop like focusing on things that were like gone. Allah didn't meant it to you to happen. It's like coping mechanism. When I told her that, she just stand up and like hugged me and like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then she like had a wudu. She prayed and she was like, yeah, definitely, that's true. Allah didn't destine it to me, didn't written it to me. إلهي ما قدر المهان.
Wow, that's a great story. So, okay, wow, that's powerful. So,
Yeah,
you actually
she became
helped her out
fine.
with it. Okay, that's interesting. Hey?
Yeah, she became fine. Like she just came out of her room. The next day she was like functioning like a normal mother. She was like getting grocery, taking the children to
So
like
it kind of
the
gave her the comfort she needed.
daycare.
That gave her comfort she
Yeah,
needed, right? So yeah, so I mean, you
exactly.
that is great. You're actually jumping the gun because I was going to ask about that. Is if this is actually providing comfort for people? Yeah.
Yep,
Why even? Maybe that's what it's for, and it doesn't need to be
exactly.
rational. Yeah.
And it even give me comfort sometimes when I mess up things.
Uh-huh.
I'll be like, محابة كانوا قلت علي وخيالها مرتاح. I'm like,
Hey.
إلهي مقدرين. إلهي سانقر. It's like an excuse that I use every time to
So is it
evade the
that's a powerful
consequences.
coping mechanism though, because you're completely what do you call it? Outsourcing the accountability.
Exactly.
Wow, okay. That's a
So
powerful
like,
story. I don't know what you guys think, but that was a
so
powerful story for me.
what do you guys think of it?
Yeah.
What do
So
you think
the
of it,
mic is on you.
Princess? What do you think of it? I mean, like, it seems that you agree with the Sheikh, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So this is the danger of that thought process. It's two prongs. One is, and although you don't believe in that, so if you were that woman, yeah, because you're not religious, that wouldn't comfort you, yeah. So are you
Yeah,
saying
definitely.
that? Yeah, are you saying then that she is? It's condescending. Ma, qofkani would not understand this idea that there may be another way that they could be consoled if that exists. So those are the 2 points. One is like we really are talking down to people. The other one is like we are excluding the existence of another way of consoling people other than this Mahala type of story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is it condescending though
Me,
if you're just using it for an end for a purpose? Because I don't think even Murka this because bro, we all lie, and the people we lie to the most are ourselves most of the time. So must I mean, maybe it's just another one of that person's, and it's a lie she took on and said, okay, that's gonna help me just carry on in life.
Yeah. But I mean, you could console someone. I'll give you an example. Like people always ask me, like when I tell them I'm not non-believer, I don't believe in halalaha, and I'll go to hell or heaven. They tell me like, how can you exist? You know what my jawab to I tell them, Jannadani at Shegi Sini is right now imika iyana anigu janno ku jira. Me existing and having conscience and no, like I am made out of the same thing that uu dhagax ka samaysan yahay. But at the same time, I could contemplate my existence. Haddayna taas jannadii ahayn, I don't know waxa jannadu ay tahay. So like it's a whole way of looking at life and looking at what like, and that's what I mean by condescending. I really want to be respectful of their mahala intellect and tell them, that's, but I agree with you. It like, yeah, I said this earlier before, like it's people like us are very comfortable in uncomfortable places.
Right.
And this is the uncomfortable place. And but I think sometimes, Imika, if you're an intellectual like him, if I think he's condescending, because I don't think he down deep believes that himself.
Okay.
I think Buhodla said this. He's like maybe a closeted like ex-Muslim. There are a lot of people would say, you know, like, so what Nietzsche said, you know, religion is for the bad, sad, and the mad. Yeah.
The what? The bad, sad, and the mad.
Yeah. So if you're bad, if you're sad, it means you're like depressed. You lost like children. Like, yeah.
I never heard that actually. I think I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to use
Nietzsche
that.
said it. That like,
Nietzsche said that, eh?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it's,
I haven't read that.
Yeah, but like people only like a lot of people know what like how Karl Marx said. You know, like opium. And stuff like. But yeah, like it's opium. What is an opium?
Yeah, it is opium for the populace.
Yeah. And what is, you know, when you're happy, you don't need drugs. Because you already are drugged up on happiness. You already have dopamine rushing in your brain. That's
you're high on life.
Is. Yeah, that's what happiness is. All drugs, what they do, they increase dopamine in your brain.
So okay, so that's a good point. So what if this whole qadr of Allah had? What if it's actually contributing to that happiness? Is that something that is so bad? Like, what do you think? You know, what do you think is going to be leading a otherwise rational person to believe in like predestination and everything that comes with it, all the crazy things that come with it? I think sometimes it's just you cannot reconcile these things. You cannot change really somehow. You cannot change. What do you say? You cannot change the qadr of Allah. That's what he said, right?
It's true.
He said that, right? At the very last bit of his presentation, that's what he said. He's like, you cannot change the qadr of Allah.
So you kept it real. He kept it real.
Do you know what I find interesting?
He did.
Yeah.
Let me just add one more point. Yeah, what I find interesting is, if you check the Battle of Badr, even it says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ. Allah supported you in Badr with 3,000 angels, and that's why you won. However, Uhud, the reason why you lost is because it's your fault. You see? So whenever a battle is won,
he's like the worst boss, man.
Yeah, it's like whenever a battle is won, it's because of God, and whenever it's lost, it's your fault. You did something wrong.
But the sheikhs do say that too right now. They say that. The person puts themselves in the place of the shaitan. Like, like, what the hell?
They don't want to attribute evil to God. That's what it is. They don't want to attribute evil to God.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
That's what it's. Everything good is from God, and everything bad is from me and the shaitan.
That's it. But I want to really emphasize on the last bit that Yasir Qadi said. He said, you cannot change the qadr of Allah, right? He actually said that, right?
What, yes.
Yeah, okay. So
it's all God's plan, bro. It's all God's plan.
It is all part of the plan. But he said nothing can change it, right? He did say that, man. Nothing can change it somehow. Okay, please, just watch this with me, please. It's just because, to me, the whole thing is hilarious. So watch this with me.
How does du'a change qadr if you know it's already decreed, if it's already written down? How can du'a change my fortune? Quickly, there are different types of qadr. There are different types of decree. There is that which is written with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in al-lawh al-mahfuz, in the preserved tablet, where everything is taken into consideration. For example, you were supposed to live 80 years, you made dua, you did a good deed, so Allah will change your decree to 90 years. That's already taken into account in Lawh al-Mahfuz. What would have happened is already written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz. As far as that which is with the angels, the records of the angels, that which is written on Layla,
I want you guys to notice the timing of the music, okay? go for it. I'll continue.
That which is written when you are in the womb of your mother, that which is written on a daily basis. Every single day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is planning, and things are being written down by the malaika every single day. All of that can be changed, and that's what Allah Azza wa Jalla means when He says in the Quran, يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blots out what He wills and He confirms that which He wills. So your dua truly does affect qadr, just the same way as your eating or your drinking would extend your lifespan for another day, right? Dua is that vital. So yes, dua has that effect on your qadr. And Rasulullah says nothing fights with qadr and changes qadr like dua and good deeds. And he said, and nothing extends the life like charity, like sadaqah. Okay? And so Imam an-Nawawi rahimahullah said we can derive from that as well that sometimes there are people that were meant to live a longer time, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reduces their lifespan because of their sins. Your good deeds can be a means of extension of your life, and your bad deeds can be a means of cutting it short. So do not underestimate the power of your dua. Really, subhanAllah, we just released that video today talking about Gaza and talking about the things that go around the world. Your dua is the greatest tool of personal and societal change. It's the greatest tool that you have.
So about dua, just one quick comment, inshallah. Just the ayat of Ramadan itself. In the ayat of Ramadan, إذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي. The famous ayah, I've talked a long time about this ayah. Whenever the slave asks, anybody who makes dua asks about me, then let them know. Then immediately Allah mentions, no doubt about it, I am near. But the part I wanted to highlight to you is ujibu da'wat ad-da'i. I respond to the call of any or every single one that makes the call at the very time that they make the call, meaning the response from Allah is coming immediately. But He did put a condition on that response. And He said, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. Then they better respond to me too. Meaning you're asking Allah for something, but the ayah says Allah is also asking you for something. So you don't just get to say, Allah is not doing for me, when Allah gets to say, well, what have you even tried? Have you even tried? And the other thing there is Allah did not say فَلْيُجِيبُوا لِي, He said فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. About Himself, He said ujibu. He didn't say astajibu in the ayah, He said ujibu da'wat ad-da'. But when in our time came, He said فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. Now there's a difference between these two. They both mean respond. But one of them is immediate and complete. And Allah is asking us for us to respond to Him. He didn't say they should completely and absolutely respond to me in the most perfect way, because we can't. So He put istijaba there. They should at least try to respond to me. At least put some effort in, okay? Just give it some, let's see some effort on your part. And then you can expect that du'as will be answered by Allah Azza wa Jalla. May Allah make us of people who actually respond to the call that Allah is making on you and us and our families too.
Ameen.
So, he said we can change the course of Qadr. So which one is it?
I'm tired of these guys.
All right, you know what? I promise I won't video clip on that.
You gotta stop that, man.
I'll stop.
You know what? Cause like madaxa xanuujiyen.
ودع هلا شنو عادني ما كسر عندي كاهد.
No,
that made me laugh.
Like, like,
that's hilarious,
brother. Because Arabic go on.
Yeah.
And I know like the mental gymnastics and the words and the ways that he's using
my
these
God,
things.
I can't.
Like he's doing like clinical psychology. He's like a charlatan at the same time. He's like infomercials, selling books and videos. It's like he's not an intellectual.
I can't with these guys anymore. I just can't.
My Sunday, enough. I had enough.
I get that. But that's what Coco Jasmine calls it, man. Haram Sunday is haram. So, Princess, you wanted to say something, sis?
Yeah, what if like Allah planned that you will like do a prayer and then that you will ask for something and then that thing is already planned?
It's a never-ending road. It's like pi, right? It's like pi, right? You know the circumference of a circle, right? Pi, that number changes, and I don't know how many people on earth have that memorized, but it's kind of like pi, the number, that number. whatever it is, 3.1476, whatever the numbers are, right? So that's the funny part. And the thing is, you're right. The suicide music is annoying. The Somalis have no chill, man. I'm dying over here. Coco Jasmine. You know what? I told you guys to look for the music, the cue for the music. It's whenever they don't want you to really listen to the message. They're like, "What is play up? They knew about this." That's what the music is literally saying to you. Or slay up, or slay up.
It was low budget too, effort, because you know you should either have the music constantly playing or nothing.
Oh, nothing at all. Yeah, you're right. You know what? That would be good if you left a comment on there that has nothing to do with anything they said.
I can do some videography for them, a little bit of editing.
I can use iMovie today. Use iMovie and put the soundtrack on top of the video track.
The real thing is when somebody was saying in the chat that they're making this up on the spot, and it's true because they're caught between a rock or a hard place, and it's either Ilahi knows everything and it's decreed completely, and there's du'as don't make any effort, or Ilahi doesn't know everything and some things is left to be made, or the last one is gonna be he makes these things and it changes, in which case Ilahi makes mistakes. Which one is it?
So none of those, none of the above. They're going
to say none of the above, and they're going to tell me you're just thinking about this wrong. Let me give you another example. And then when you point out the example is not like a good example to compare it to, they start losing their minds. And then, like I said last time, this is a fascistic tendency. Right. These people are their last leg to stand on.
Yeah. I was on Magobia. I was on Clubhouse today, right? I was on Clubhouse today, and there was a guy that came into the room. And it was Somali with a big following. He wanted to say his piece. Guys, and I swear to you, man, the guy was weeping. He has weeping in his voice. سؤالات جرى انت اللي سويدينا تحي اي سويدينين السؤال markaas uu anigu markaan tukanayo buu kuleeyay in muslim waxa markaan tukanayo markaan sujuudayo shaydaanku wuxuu i weydiiyaa buu kuleeyay maxal sujuudaysa ayaa sujuudaysa markaas in kalo Soomaaliya mulxida ku yidhi ma war shaydaanka ma waa aqligaaga kula hadlaya aqligaaga waa kula hadlaya
waa runtoodi it's real
yeah Somali have no chill aqligaaga kula hadlaya I was dead bro I was done
you have to this is the one you have to put the pressure on these people because they're afraid the problem is like Bohla was saying, it's fear and hope, but more often than not, it's fear that's really why the deen is still around. This religion is not really around because it's make you love and make you a better person out of just being a good person. It's because it's fear of narta, and that level of
I would have to disagree with that.
Okay, Isa is in the game now.
Okay.
Your energy now, Isa.
وصلت للجي هذا
وصلت للجي الحمد لله هي
نقول
Arabic terms. I always use Somali terms.
My brother, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't usually say ilahi. I say ebo. It's a term that comes from Somali Asulka. That's what they call God.
Absolutely.
So, and if I go back to the topic, from what I've understood, this is about qadr, right? Predestination, right?
That's correct, bro. Yes.
Marka, and there's a lot of questions that can come from that, and even myself, I ask a lot of questions in regards to that. I've asked many and scholars. Some of them, once they cannot answer the question, they say the galma tahay maxaa and all that kind of stuff. But like I believe in God at the end of the day, and it's important to answer questions in a way which is intellectual, which makes sense. Things like what do you call it? I think was it Nu'man? I think it's Nu'man Ali Khan, right? And the other guy,
Nu'man Ali Khan.
And the other guy, they were talking about predestination. That
guy was Suleiman Balada. Something.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. They're in America, I think.
That's correct. That's correct.
They're what do you call it? What you could say is they tend to they're even themselves a lot of times a lot of people they don't understand, but they themselves doubt a lot of things, especially in Sheikh Abdul Qadir and Qadi.
Sheikh Yasir Qadi, huh?
Yasir Qadi, yes, that's it. He himself, there are things, I think there's a video he's done where he was, what do you call it? He mentioned something about there's holes within the narrative, within the Quran.
that kind of made the waves. Yes.
Well, you could say that, yes, because now there are a lot of things. I do a lot of research within Islam, Kutub Islam, and all that. Even the Quran. There are things. If a person who's sane looks deep into it, which doesn't add up, which doesn't make sense,
right?
In particular, to the times that we are living in. So yes, when it comes to, for example, Qadr Al-Qalisin, which is the topic of tonight, right? There are things which doesn't make sense if you look deep into it. For example, and but at the same time, in the Quran, Ilahi subhanahu wa ta'ala feeds all people.
Right.
He's the one who provisions, he's the one who's the provisioner, he's the one who provides, and all that kind of stuff. Then a question will come, if Ilahi Able is the one who provides for all, then why did he allow for someone to die in that state? What is the reason behind it? So there are questions that can come up. Obviously, I cannot, what do you call it, defend some things. But for me,
you're not here to defend anything.
No, I'm not
just here
defending,
to share our
I'm not
perspectives.
saying that for me, religion, it's something. I'm not talking about religion with a capital R. I'm not talking about institutionalized religion.
What other kind of religion is there, though? Then you're talking about spirituality, Asa.
It's spirituality, that's it. Spirituality, a sense of meaning to life. That this world, there has to be some sort of a meaning.
But that's not an original thought, is it, Asa? We've had this as Somalis even before Islam.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree with that. Absolutely, I agree with that. But I'm not saying that if we look at all religions, you can pickpocket, you can find many faults, many things within every religion. Whatever religion is, even if it comes to atheism, you can pickpocket and find faults within it. But for me, I believe that whatever the person wants to believe in, they should believe in it, but they also have to accept people to critique what they believe in as well. I'm definitely for that. I'm not against that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
You know what it is? It's here's what I think. Okay, we're not original. Islam is like a Johnny come lately in terms of philosophy, religiosity, and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, they've been people as long as they've been people. They've been belief systems. Why was there belief systems? Because there was things were happening in the world, and we didn't know what the hell that was, right? Someone witnessed an eclipse, they had no idea what that was. Someone witnessed thunder, they had no idea what that was. So they had to come up with belief systems to explain that away so they can go about their day-to-day, because that creates or that lessens the anxiety. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I believe. That's why I say religion is man-made, but when it comes to spirituality, it comes with your DNA. See what I'm saying? So to me, I personally reject this Islam simply because I believe it's just a rendition of the Arabs saying this is how they view life. The thing they've done, though, is that they've actually what happened with Islam is that Muhammad says, "I'm the last prophet. There's no one after me." So basically, he put Islam in a place where it cannot bend, and if it cannot bend, then the only thing that's left is to break. So that's the thing, right? That's how I kind of view the whole thing. Well, it's not that I have no disdain or anything. I'm over it, right? I'm over being overzealous for. I'm serious, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I was telling GMH, and Kush remembers me from back in the day. I was really, there was a force behind it that was saying, "Yo, screw this." That is no longer there for me in terms of أنا شخصية هانس كهاليو. أنا جو حيلتها هذا Somali نهاي. What can we do to live together and better our situation? Man, we're like 6 Somalis on this panel, and we're probably in 6 different places in the world. And that's the crazy thing, right? It's like, why can we not have this conversation? A beach meetup. Like, why can we not go to Berbera and have these conversations? Why can we not have these conversations in our own lands? Because
the thing is,
stopping us from doing that.
It's happening. It is happening in Somalia. I've traveled to Somalia. I've go to Mogadishu, Puntland, and what do you call it? Different places. A lot of people, so especially a lot of Somali people, they don't understand. Within Somalia, not everyone is Muslim down there.
Right.
If you go deep into certain places in Somalia, you'll find Somali Christians.
Right.
You'll find Somalis who doubt Deen Islam. You'll find Somalis who are close to becoming atheists as well.
I find that the more zealous ones are actually Qurbahi Jogan. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know, Kush, what do you think of that? I think some of the, and Kush, you're in the UK, bro. Like, Birmingham has some of the the most overzealous Somali brothers. The Dira warriors. You know what I mean? Like the Dira wearing Somalis. You know what I mean? We jogan, and I think it's Qurbahi kubadiyin more so than back home.
You mean more Somali who are not what do you call it? Who are not Muslim? You mean, or
no? More Somalis hold on to the Deen stronger when Qurbahi Merki Jogan.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Opposed back in Mogadishu or
100%,
Hargeisa or Djibouti or whatever.
Or
right?
Hargeisa, if you go down there, you're not obviously you're not going to see them visually,
right?
Because out of fear and all that kind of stuff. But me personally, there are many, in particular, Gablu Somali who are Christians.
In Hargeisa.
In Hargeisa, yeah, but obviously they're not going to.
But I heard they were persecuted there, though. Like, I mean, they try to open up a Knesset بدون إن تكفر عن ماشى ولا ديري ولا ديري.
Yeah, there was a time. Yeah, yes, I think
I actually spoke to someone in Clubhouse who was.
I agree with that. We're trying to get rid of one religion. We're gonna get another one.
Jimmy, I'm so heartless, man. So heartless.
Yeah. I'm trying to, like, it's like you're addicted to alcohol and it could be tobacco. That's crazy.
That's a very okay. You know what, GMH? I think you just swayed me because I think you just but we've already. But like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I believe I'm gonna go ahead. The religion only works when everybody has the same religion. The second there's diversity of thought or beliefs, all of the religions lose their teeth and don't become. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of that?
I agree with Isa on one point.
Right.
Yeah, Isa, I agree with you on one point. I think as a human being, we need some sort of spirituality. But religion is different. Religion is organized theology, organized mahalaraha, and edicts. It's like explanation. It's not like it's a public form of a spirituality. It's not a mahala personal one. If it's a personal one, you could do whatever you want. Yeah, I think that's fine. But once it becomes public and all of that, it becomes a very suppressive thing. I think the public sphere, like things like institutions where we are gonna discuss and debate and do things in a civil way, I don't mind having mahalaraha institutions that like bring the teachers together or because you still need communities. Yeah, there's one reason why we need mosques and all of that. But I think Hadi and Rana, we go from like this personal thing to this, then sooner or later waxaan noqonaynaa like the same way imkaan u isticmaalna qabiilka, you know?
That other poison. That's a poison and a half.
Yeah, so it's the same. We're trying to get rid of all of these divisions. Somalida dhexdooda, yeah. haddaynu wax kala sii abuurno sheekadeenu ma
dhammaanayso. Hi, but like in the GMH, don't you think maxaan ku idhahdaye and Mohammed Dawari wuxuu yidhi not true. If everyone had the same religion, the next argument would be which sect or group that
I think he
that
made
religion
a great
is
point.
right. That is a great point, actually. I'm
not gonna. You're always gonna have in-group, out-group dynamic. It's not gonna end.
It would never end. They'd always be battling.
So let's start like I think what we should do is like we should go back to the thing. What is the role of this, whatever this thing is, religion or spirituality, and how can we have the good side of it? I know. I really believe. I said earlier today. I said like religion is actually a virus in our brain. Yeah, I said that. Like I said, it's a virus.
The opium of the populace.
Yeah, it evolved with us for all the things that you.
But can we? Okay, but GMH though, can we get real for a second? On this panel, okay? I'm gonna say this, and I want to see if each of you either agrees with me or disagrees with me. I believe that religiosity gets tempered down with education, right or wrong? Because Africa are the most religious people, but like, would you guys agree? And I have not looked anything, so I'm just asking you guys if you agree or not that Africa would be containing the least educated populace. Would that be a fair assumption?
No, I would say I would disagree with the second.
You would disagree with that? Okay.
The first premise, I would agree with you. I would agree that like the definition of education, why not kuhishina? But I agree with you. If there's more education, which is just more information and getting the information in a way that you are critically thinking, yes, then maybe you get to a place that's more rational. I would say that, not less religious, just a place where it's more rational. You know, like, and you would agree and disagree with things in a rational sense.
Right.
So yes to the first one, no to the next one, because the second one is a colonial mindset.
Oh, okay. That's
absolutely
good.
Agree with that.
Okay, Asa agrees with you. So you think that second opinion of Africa being the least educated populace is a bit of a colonial mindset?
Because there's difference between schooling and education.
You know what I mean, though, right? GMH?
Yeah, I agree with what you mean. Garaadkii baa yaraaday. Soomaalidu ku yaraaday, dadka kale kuma yaraaday.
What do you think, Buhodle? Do you think that's a fair assumption? Do you think that's I'm reaching? What do you think?
Like our brother GMH was saying, it all depends on how you define education. So at that age, if you have a look at, I don't know, zealous Muslims, they define the deen as knowledge.
That is true, actually. That's a good point. Ace is laughing at you, but yeah, it's true.
What, am I wrong?
It depends on
you're not wrong.
That's what I'm laughing.
They think the religion itself is knowledge. So, my new nomad, I think the catalyst is knowledge in terms of secular knowledge. The catalyst is different. Like in that can, they believe the religion itself is knowledge. So we have a problem there.
that's like a showstopper.
It depends on who are those people.
Do Muslims not say that the deen is ilm, the deen is knowledge? No.
Well, I think someone mentioned something about sects within.
It was Muhammad Dawara Idi. Not true. If everyone had the same religion, the next argument would be which sect or group of that religion is right. So
exactly. So what do you call it? Muslimin themselves, they have different understanding to life. You cannot put every single Muslim into one category.
So are you saying that the concept of the ummah is dead?
That's rubbish. That's
okay.
ما فهمت ummah what do you call Muslims being like a whole body and all this kind of stuff. If you even look into the hadith itself, it's not a reliable hadith itself.
Okay.
If you look at the isnad of the hadith,
right.
This term or what do you call it, the Ummah, and what do you call Ummah, and all this. If you even look at the time of the what do you call it, different type of what do you call it, empires of Muslims.
Right.
They never used to agree with each other. They never used to even call themselves.
Well, these are empires. There was so listen.
I mean, amongst those people that lived there.
Yeah.
They never, even if you look at the Umayyads empire,
yep.
the
who was run by who? Who was running the Umayyad? Who were the Umayyads? Who was running that empire? The guy that was running that empire was Abu Sufyan's son, right?
Son, exactly.
And Abu Sufyan was a munafiq, wasn't he not? Was he not known as someone that only accepted Islam because
I'm sure he
under the threat of the sword? I mean, maybe I don't have my history right.
He was the smart one. He was the smart one. He's the smart one. He saw the writings on the wall. Yeah.
Can I make an interesting observation? Yeah.
Of course you can. We want interesting observations up in
Listen to this, yeah.
Yeah.
When the Muslim empires were at their peak, I'm talking about the highest Islamic golden era.
Right.
This is the time they were the furthest away from Bukhari and Muslim and Nisa'i and
Bukhari didn't even exist back then.
No. I'm talking about
Bukhari.
I'm talking about the Islamic golden age video.
Spain.
So I'm saying even before Spain video, when they moved away from Bukhari and Muslim and they moved to secular subjects, they flourished.
Yeah.
Look at it. So for some reason, when Muslims boast about the Islamic golden era, those people did not rely upon Bukhari or Muslim. They relied upon what? Greek. I think Ibn Rushd done the explanation of Aristotle's works. So they moved completely away from that.
Right.
Actually, those people at that time, even today, a lot of ulama, or especially Salafiyin, Wahhabiyin, they call them Galo. ما فهمت. They were not actual real Muslims. الغوعة. ما فهمت.
But also, and weren't like most like of these empires, so-called empires, the Umayyads, the Abbasids, like really, Arab waxay ahaayeen the lower ruling class. They were really like the empire were the Sassanites and the Persians and like the Orthodox Christians. Waxaasay dhaxleen ayaku waxba ma wadin ayaku they were just safe bay meesha keeneen dadkii qoorta ka gooyin baqdin bay dadka ku wadeen in khayra sare. And then what they did, like waxay carabiga yiraahdeen imika adigu af carabiga garan tahsiil nasl naaga waxay wada guursadeen maxaa la Bosnian caruurtooda xitaa ma ahayn kolkii dambe carab. Yeah, so like we subscribe a lot of things to these nomadic people who came from Quraysh, but after a while, way fasakh man. The real, and I really think all these theologies deep Bukhari iyo Muslim waxaan qorayaan waa 300 sano kadib.
Yeah, 200 years after the time of the Prophet.
Let me ask the panel a question. You see, Muslims, when they talk about Christians, they're very rational, they're very logical. They say, look, Paul came after Jesus and all that. But when it comes to hadiths, it completely goes out the window. I find that interesting.
Say that again. What are they? They're rational?
When they look at Christianity and they look at the Bible, Matthew, Luke, all these people, they didn't meet Jesus many years after.
The Christians would say that.
No, Muslims would use that as
the Muslims would use that. Okay, got
against the Christians.
Ayakun is kama hadlan.
Ayagana toda it's completely different. So it's interesting how
they're ostrich. They put the head in the ground.
But like in Matthew, John, these people, if you ask a question about it, like for example, John what was their surname? Matthew what was Matthew's surname?
What, did Bukhari meet the Prophet?
No, the Bukhari didn't meet the Prophet, but he had a name. Full name was even his surname.
But we're not talking about that. Like in I know I'm like an academic, so like there are ways that use like sources and you document things and all of that. Yeah, one of the biggest things in you justifying that something is like has an accurate source is time between when someone is writing something and when the thing happened. Yeah, if especially it was not like written and like I don't know, like if you got Qur'aanka laftiisa kolkii la wada qoray la isku wada geeyay was 300 years after Nabiga. Yeah, so like we have to like really with a grain of salt. Dad baa ka dambeeyay raggani aan wada sheegayno that use these stories sida maxaa la yiraahdaa to justify their rule, to justify their empire, to justify their and I think we have to look at the religion from that angle. Then it makes rational sense. Then kolka waad oran karaysaa oo aniga waxbaa looga jeeday bahasha. Yeah, wixii looga jeedana way samaysay may samaynin. We could argue about that.
Or maybe we just outgrew it, Jimmy. Yeah. Maybe we just outgrew it.
Yeah, like we just can't apply it to like our daily life and like daily struggles as human beings on this planet at this moment of time. You could use certain things of it. I don't know that you could use and Gabadi got to do this princess. She used it to like comfort another human being.
Another human being, yeah.
That's fine. But why not I'm using this as a tool. You know, like it's the only tool that I know. It's the only tool that I can use.
So you know what? That's not a problem. I'm going to speak for myself, and maybe you the rest of the gentlemen.
No, I'm saying that's not a problem. That's not
a problem. Personally, my gripe with it is not that. My gripe with it is the fact that it tries to replace who I am. Because for a lot of Somalis, culture kogi, your dagan kogi, it has been replaced in the mainframe.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And that's personally, that's my fight. Yeah.
Let me tell you something sad. حتى مقدشة جامعة هذا دائرتين عربي بقى وحلو برا دتك.
Because we think that's our culture. We think we've replaced our dagan with a dagan that isn't necessarily ours, but that comes from us.
What do you mean by Arabic wala gubara? Somali, like there are three things that like really are like crucial for them, and one of them was qabilka. Somaha bemben ko wada sheegna.
Qabilku waa sun kala weyn
waxaan rahnaa qabiyalis minhim.
No, qabyaalada sun qabiil ma sun. I don't believe that.
Qabiil maaha qabyaalada.
Qabiilka waan ku dhaarnaa nacam kula. But look, even qabiilka kolkaynu tirsanayno kolka landeerad noqonayso waa Arab dasha. What are you talking about? Like
I never heard of that shit, man. I never heard of that shit. I categorically reject that.
You know what I tell people? What I said qabiilada waaweyn waxa qoran reer Banu Hashim baan. Yeah, Arab maxaa la yiraahdaa oday daaro jibarti la yiraahdaa kood dadkii kale wax may wasiin.
You know, when it comes to that,
you made me laugh with that, man. I need some blondes.
You know, there's this guy. I don't know if you guys know.
No chill. Have you heard of that story? I think. Have you heard of that narration?
The one you saying that.
The narration of Tabuk. Listen to this. So this is a story about the Roman or the Byzantine Empire when they had areas of Tabuk. So the Prophet is saying to them, invade and you will have spoils of the daughter of Al-Asfar. So that means yellow, referring to the hair.
Yeah.
So this was used as a way of motivating the soldiers. And then I think one of them refused, and then a verse came down that he's a munafiq and whatnot.
Oh, wow. So if you don't like the blondes, you're a munafiq. You know, all this shit works in the West now.
You know, that's why I wonder why they didn't invade us. Why didn't they go down? Why did they go up?
Absolutely. I want you to answer that. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it was because I think
I
think it's also like what they saw in like people. I really think there are theories that Meshani Makkah was not really the real Makkah. You know,
more and more, GMH, I'm agreeing with you. More and more, I'm agreeing with you, man, because that's what seems to be the thing. Like it doesn't seem like the more evidence I see, the more it seems like it was Petra.
Yeah, Mel Haga Sarai. So Hagi ay joogeen ube ku noqdeen because we were too far from them.
But like in that guy, Mel Gibson, some more.
I'm pretty sure he got discredited.
No, it's Dan Gibson. Dan Gibson.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're related, but like Mel Gibson is the actor. Dan Gibson is the research. Because I'm like, I don't know why I thought of anti-Semitism.
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
But like in a lot of people, a lot of credible Western, what do you call it, professors, they say he's not a credible person.
Yeah, I'm not like arguing about like I think I don't go. I'm doing it myself. Like the reason I'm like I agree with you. I think I've heard of that guy, but there's not a lot of like research into it. When there's a lot of research, maybe then we would go into that. But what I'm saying is like Makkah and Kamadera like it's not that far from like the riches of the world is in this part of the world. Look how the middle, like by the time they got to like Baghdad, the soil was used for thousands of years. The yield of like they didn't. If they really wanted to capture like real land and like they would have come down to us.
But they did though, GMH. Imik egg background king egg, background king egg.
Yeah.
Background king waxay nooga dhigay saaxiibkay oo waa laga casaal weeyaan waa Djibouti weeyaan waa laga casaal milixdii weeyaan milixdii buu soo qaadayaa waa geel baa isdaba socda. This is a caravan, you know, for all intents and purposes. That's a caravan. This comes from us, walaalkay. Like this is I don't have any kind of gripe with that. Inaku sidaasaan ahayn geel jira waan ahayn waan jirnay dad jiraan ahayn some of that. The fact that it established itself in the mainframe of Somali thought or Somali is what I have a gripe with. Because one is ilone, and what happens to a human being, one is the Sunday. We don't think we're as great as we actually are. I'm not getting a big head. I'm just saying the facts.
I agree with you, but we would have to like. You want us to get like the make Somali great again, red hats and stuff.
No, it's gonna be a blue hat.
I agree with you.
It's not gonna be red, nigga.
I agree with you. Like when you're alone, like I think there's a blessing in disguise in Somali that like Afka. The
North Africans, like the North Africans.
No, like Sudan, that's not
you read my mind. Sudan have
Sudan حتى عرب كون عن عرب وضن مصاري محل سوريين عرب معها وعرب معربة عرب مستعربة وحبال الله يرحم.
Okay, the me كويديو GMHO وحن جوجين we told you I was at a restaurant so ما أدري. أنا كنا واسكاف there our waitress. maxaa kuday magaceeda tuuka waxa ka soo leedahay markaasaan ku yiri maxaa tahay markaas ay tiri ma waxaana carab waxa ka timid baan ku yiri Iraq bay tiri markaasaan ku yiri Iraaqidu carab ma haban ku yiri thinking she's lakin the media raaciya lahayd you know so no we are Arabs bay tiri we could have got me
waxaad ku oranayd antum carab mucarraba أنتم مش عرب
عربي نوكلا معناه بالمعربة كان
وحوين أف عربي سيدي ننكي مركز دويد أف عربي يركو عياري عربي هو اللغات ما هو اللينغويستيك سو عرب واحد جرت عربية الله يرحمه وعرب عربية كده جنبها
صح أف عربي وصير نغنى سيوة جيميتشو
أف عربي جو كلمة ده واحد قدر كتا حرف وبدلها يا محاله يرحمه واحد كلمة دي كده جنبها سو عرب عربية يجرت وحال الله يرحمه هو عرب معربة مو كل كده قدرت وعرب العربية
exactly
iyo waxa jirta carab mustacraba carab ayaku iscarabeysay soo carabta saddexdaas loo kala saaraa badani waxa la yiraahdaa carab carabiyadu waa qolo yar oo dadneen oo Yemen ka bilaabantay waxaana loogu tilmaamaa waxa carabiga waxa lagu leeyahay ayaga ka bilaabay quraysh waxa la yiraahdaa ma aha carab meehayn waa carab mustacraba
wal arabi
ma ayaga is carabeeyay maxaa la yiraahdaa masaaridoo kale ayaga is carabeeyay suuqyada kale waa loo tagay laysa way qaateen carab qasab lagu carabeeyay ayaa jirta Suudaanta kamid
they had a language before that
qasab lagu carabeeyay maxaa la barbarka waxa la isku dayay in qasab lagu carabeeyo raggan maxaa la yiraahdaa imika haddaad tagtid maghrib al-carabi meeshan ee Jazaa'ir iyo Maghrib iyo Morocco iyo Algeria they are on like Southern Ethiopia and school like so Somali Somalian Habashidu they have been fighting for thousands of years because Algeria is dominated by Berbers and Morocco they believe they're dominated by Arab so hajirtay Yemen ka timid so Arab iyo waxa isku laayaan Arab Arabiyye iyo Arab Arab quote unquote So Arab inaku manihin, and that's the only reason how we still even are debating about this. Inaka diintan baa inagu adag. Diintana waxay inagu adag tahay diin kaloon haysano adkeyd bay bedeshay. I think that's the real thing. Inaku we're very religious people. Haddaynu tan ka baxno waxaan imika Christianity-ga u diidayay. Haddaynu tan ka baxno taa kala galan haddana waa meel kale. Haddana ka baxo haddana like we're very religious people.
Do you know why I think we're religious? Because religion-kii baa qabiil noqday. حتى الصوماليين في waxay ku leeyihiin waxaan nahay dad shaafici qabiilka ka taaya cilmiga maaha aqliga maaha just waxa weeyaan this is what we do, this is what we are.
madhab kama aha, like it's not like an ideological existence or kala, like maaha nacam we are gonna exist, like but I don't want like the reason really like religion ka I'm not afraid of it, so imka Isa sheegay, like if it becomes a personal thing. But
that's the reason why I'm a secular Muslim. I don't personally believe religion should be enforced or should be within politics. I believe religion should be something independent for a person, whoever they want to believe in, whether they want to be a Muslim, whether they want to be a Christian, whether they want to be an atheist, or whoever they want to be, as long as they respect the rules and the laws within the country. That is what I believe in. And I don't believe...
Isa, don't you think laws are meant to be changed or evolve? Like, at one point in human history, it was law that you can own another human being. Aren't you glad we changed that up?
I don't believe that religion within itself, like for example, Islam, I don't believe it's something which was meant to be imposed on the people. It was something for people to recognize God. That is what I believe in. At the end of the day, if they want to believe in whatever they want to believe in, that is up to them. At the end of the day, when they pass away and they die, God will judge them.
Right, but that's a great position to have, Isa. But I think that's an educated position. That's a position that is yours.
That is a position which I hope a lot of Somalis will have. That is.
But the thing is, like, if in those terms, Isa, in those terms, and by the way, you have my grandfather's name, so I'm gonna say it. You know, is it like? Yeah. I would have the same. We would be on the same standing. Like we're not that far. Like you and I would be able to coexist and get our people to that next level. We don't have a problem, Kazi. The problem is, and one of the reasons why I keep having these conversations is because there's a sect of people that believe that there's only one way to be, and that is so harsh. So anything that does not want to bend will break, though, Kazi. Like, I mean, Somali manahai. At the end of the day, Somali manahai. Somali comes with a certain amount of dignity, man.
I think the last stream that you're on, I think I mentioned something about Wadaadinte. They are the ones who have today in Somalia, almost to a degree, I don't know how the percentage of it could be maybe 60%, 70% influence on the Somali people.
I was going to add, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
wadaadada shayga isku ictisaam itixaad
exactly
those people waxay ka faa'iideysteen markay dawladda dhacdo burburkii kadib
exactly
yeah. Absolutely
so I was going to add
because there was a power vacuum
exactly
they took and you know what, and I'm gonna probably get people coming after me for this, but you know when what is my or speak as you will and let I want all the smoke, man. I want all the smoke. But like the IC course, man, the IC the course.
You mean the IC course?
هذا IC maxay haayeen magaciisu xasuusin
Islamic Courts Union
thank you the Islamic Courts hada markay imaadeen there was a semblance of you know things calming down and actual order in Somalia wasn't there? So was that because of the actual hikmat of the deen, or was it because it was just powerful men imposing themselves onto the populace?
Good question.
Personally, I'll tell you my position. I don't think it had anything to do with any kind of hikmah of the deen. It was just some dudes that had guns that were able to implement a semblance of a law in a lawless land, and that's why it worked. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's definitely force. I agree with that. It's definitely force is what they were using to get their dominance, because the truth is, religion has a problem when it gets full reign. Then it becomes fully capable of solving everything, especially like originally like Islam. It says it's a solution for everything. But then once you get pushback and a little bit of people telling them how to behave and what to do, and you can't kill people just for leaving the religion,
right?
Then you get people like, I'm sorry to say, Isa try to go secular because it's outside forces making them change their behavior. It's not. It's never from the deen or within that changes the people to become more secular. It happened with Christianity. It's happening with Islam now, because more people are reading hadith and they're looking up stuff, and they're seeing that there were surahs that was lost. They were seeing cases where hadiths where the Prophet was naked. They're seeing hadiths that are in all like Muslim and Bukhari, and they're going crazy. And then you go to Sunnah.com, and then you see them deleting hadiths, the embarrassing ones. Now they're hiding it.
Right. Because they don't have a choice.
Yeah, but the other thing that we also have to be like conscientious of is that we're not saying there shouldn't be like rule of law. It's like people assume that that we want to go back to anarchy.
Right.
Yeah, that's
not what we're saying, is it?
That's not what we're saying. No. I think that's the problem. Like when you got like the example that you gave, like a lot of people would say, because that's an incentive for anarchy to stop. But we're saying like there are other ways that you could deal with like law and order in a modern day. So that's the thing, because I think you can't go from one extreme to the other extreme, because anarchy is one extreme, totalitarian based on the 6th century.
For your GMH, it's not a zero-sum game though, is it? Like it's not a zero-sum game. Like we can have an in-between.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Like I was saying, like my brother Isa, I can live with my brother Isa. We can actually have a coffee on the beach, and we can actually talk for the betterment of our people. But like he is not representative of the masses, unfortunately.
Exactly. But I'm not saying about people. I was like, yeah. Well, okay, Jesus. And he is
Soomaalida maxay qabyaa ibo Soomaalida liga qabo Soomaalida niyahow waxa ku sameeyaa walaalkii Jesus really. Yo, you know what, I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt, GMA, just for you, man.
Yeah walaalkii Jesus. And I'm not saying about him.
I'm Jesus that in Spanish.
I'm Isa.
Yeah, but I'm trying to make it light. No, I wasn't talking. Isaga kama hadlay. Waxaan ka hadlay the idea. Dad baa kugu oranaya. Qofka kama hadlay. Waxaan ka hadlay the idea. Like so, qasab maaha inaan tan ku dhaqano. Qasabna maaha inaan tan ku dhaqano. Like you're saying, there's in between. And I think what we're trying to u dagaalamno is the in between. And I think when we talk about the in-between, the people on one extreme have an argument. Like their argument is like, oh, anarchy. And we're saying, no, that's not what we want to be. There has to be a rule of law, but it has to be based on other things other than
like, by the way, we can't say Jesus was Isa because عرفت وحنيرة العيسى لكن هو يشوع ولا لحظة صحيح ولا كان يشوع ولا لحظة يشوع.
You can't change my name now.
Nah, man. I told you, you're Isa. I told you. You have my grandfather's name, man. You have my grandfather's name.
Oh, Yeshua
Yeshua ولا لكن. وفضوليين Somalida ليهو. Somalida فضوليين. But I'm serious though. Like I've been on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
yo qosolka ka dhamaan maaha waa laysoo kiciya waa kaale baa la idhahdaa kaana noo sheekeyso
waa inaan meesha imaadayo
warha waan kusoo diray invitation anigii magobia meesha ku waalanay xitaa bohol you supposed to come I don't know what happened to you man.
You don't need no invitation no more you can just sign up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's free now. It's free reign.
Oh, okay, that's cool then.
Oh, it's anarchy now, huh?
Well, watch it. Somali.
But speaking about names, I should wait about okay. Now this, it was a video. It was on TikTok. But the guy was saying, you know, he's reading a bunch of names, crazy names, and this guy was named Shaidan Wase. I died.
I'm done. How did Shaidan Wase?
Shaidan Wase. I don't know. God only
why
knows
are Somali so extra, bro? Like, why are we so extra?
You know, like, but isn't that the kid made a video, music video? You know that kid, like the cowboy gay guy, like the rapper cowboy.
Oh, you're talking about Lil Nas X?
Yeah, didn't he make a video? Him like making out with the devil?
He did.
Yeah, he stripped. Yeah, he went on pole dance all the way down to hell.
Yeah. So that guy's bringing it from there. Shaidan got souls.
Yeah, but I think that one would be Shaidan Kulawase because that was the other way around.
Magobi, Shaidan by Dukaday. Shaidan by.
There
all
you go.
They did was kiss, man. We can't start extrapolating and shit. You know what I mean? But waxaa la haystaa ma garanaysaa mid yar baa ku jiri jiray oo magaaladan joogu ayuu ka yimid waxaa la Jaydin baa la dhahdaa waa amba waa African amba waa Haitian amba something like that waa
Jaydin the one who sings
he's from my town.
Yeah. He's got Somali songs or something like that, right?
So Somali buu bartay daan ku sheegay.
Yes, Ghana.
Adaan reer Ottawa adaan waxay anaku madowga socdaanka qof kasta waanu balnaa anaku Soomaaliga.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Lii ogolaaday inaad Soomaaliga bartiin.
Anaka isfiinay. Anaka isfiinay oo isku aqbalnay oo isku qoodnay.
He does a song for Somali people actually. I think for Somali people.
Lisa, you heard that, right?
Yeah, I heard that one. Yeah.
Okay,
the number one word in Ottawa is Kowal. Everybody is no longer Somali. Kowal is no longer Somali.
Magobi, you're from Ottawa, man. I forgot.
Kowal is no longer Somali. Forget about it.
No.
Kowal, like Qof Kowal.
Yeah. All the little Adan boys, everybody in their 20s, 30s says Kowal.
Bro, like my friends.
Is it me or the microphone is?
What microphone?
I heard some noise from the microphone.
Okay.
We can hear you properly, so you're clean.
Maybe it's my wind. I'm walking right now outside.
No. But like, you know what? How could I? Heston, ayaantii horaan daare ahayd. Imika, I know Daro Adana, but I want you guys to just listen to the song, okay? Keep in mind, inankani, wiilkani, ma aha in Somali ma aha. Lakin, luqadayni buu bartay. Luqadayni buu ku heesayaana. Siduu ugu heesayaana herde. Yo, GMH, especially you, I want you to watch this.
Waan ba non hoogni haye.
Haye, bal daawada bale. Waan ba Nicola. War daawo. Daawo.
Somalian buried again. أكينا سلام بان أبو بحينا كروحنا قيسكاي صورة صوماليان بريت جينا صاحبك وسو أكينا سلام بان أبو بحينا كروحنا قيسكاي صورة حكيس دسيراتا بدن لما سيمو ملنا جيجيغا سبدا مقدشو وجه قاري سما سلوقي كارو من كيس إحدالو مي اسمع يا نصو صعدا سينا أغمار ميكارو سومالي دادكان كوعا هاقادان عيركا سريف سومالي توسو سحالكو هاينا قابحي هب يالا داسوليا سوماليان بريد لقينا صاحباكو سو أكينا سلام بان أبو بحينا كروحنا قيسكاي صورة ديلا ديسمي لديلا كالي لديلا ديسمي لديلا حانسفر بكوشينا شيرو أو سناجيو قارو شبوتيو علي سبيل إنان دكتان هبا قمدها الصومالية متقرية سهان سديه دالو يسارو كل يحب تاني دو هاقادا إركاسري صومالية توسو حالكو هاينا قابحي طب يلا داسوليا Somalian berry tagayna saxiibaan ku soo arkayna salaan baan ugu baxayna quruxna geeskay isoo raac dheela dheela deesmayla dheela dheela kalayla dheela dheela deesmayla dheela dheela eega eega quruxdooda eega muqdisho jijega Garissa, Djibouti, Hargeisa, Somali, Wenega, Kurahe, Songesta, Africa, Somalia, Garmanta, Kurahe, Songesta, Africa, Somalian Berit again, Sahiba Kuso Akena, Salan Ban Ubu Bahena, Kuhna Giskai, Sora, Dela, Dela, Desmila, Dela, Dela. Kalayla dela, dela, desmila dela, dela. Somalian berry tagayna, sahiban kuso akayna, salan ban ubu bahayna, kuruhna geeskay, sora. Dela, dela, desmila dela, dela. Kalayla dela, dela, desmila dela, dela.
I see a lot of mixed messages here.
Waan baanan hoognadii weeyaan anuu halkii waan kaga qaaday waa maxay sheekadii maxay tahay
wiilkaasi Somali ma aha Somali ma aha
laakiin
Somali ma aha
that's a nice beat, man. That's a nice song. Wax wanaagsan buu ka hadlayaa. Come on, man. Come on, guys.
Nomad waan garanaya adigu maaga hats baad rabtaa inaad noo xidhid
yeah. That's a nice song, guys. Come on, that's a nice song. Even Coco Jasmine couldn't help but say, she's like, the song is fine, but I wouldn't give my ears to this. Come on, Coco. It's a nice song. Just admit it, man. It's a nice song. I do hope a genuine no shame you. Inta Somali adan nahay qabyaalada aan iska sulino. Ya oo Jigjiga Djibouti iyo Muqdisho iyo Kismaayo ka hadlayo waa dadkeeni ya waynaki qof kale inoo sheegay waxan ka war anigu my only gripe was that markuu hablaha Soomaaliyeed ka hadlayay gabadh aan xijaabnii ma jeclaan lahaa intuu tuso oo dharkeeni hidiyo dhaqanka xidhnayd but laakiin you know we can't ask for everything, you know what I mean, because this guy his connection to Somalis because
below the gabadh Soomaaliyeed maxaad ka garan
yeah
gabadh Soomaaliyeed yeah his like girlfriend or wife or something.
No, but that's true though. Yo, gabdhaha Soomaaliyeed niyaho, you gotta understand, man. They're out. Like the human race knows about them now. Ma haysano on like West Africa no mu joogaan imika.
So how they're out?
Let's be real, guys. Let's just be real. Let's be real. Hablo qurux badan baa inaga dhashay. Hablahaasina that now they're open to the world, and you know what?
Annaka kashitooyin wada noqonay.
Inako.
That's what shit.
Yo, you know I'm not lying, nigga. You know I'm not lying. Am I lying though? Like, come on. Yo, Magobi, am I lying? Tell me I'm lying, cause I'm not lying.
Hey, maxaa la dhahaa? So ninkan ma iska daawanayno miya maxaa la dhahaa?
May waxaan doonay intaad soo intay dad ajnabiyo arag Soomaha markay ka helaan dhaqankeena iyo Soomaalinimadeena heede meel bayna taabsataa. Sooma?
Waa ninkan dhaqankeena ma yaqaanay hadduu meel
malihi u yaqaanayo malihi u gabyayaa laakiin GMH walaal heede af Soomaaligiisa heede dad Soomaali oo aan garanayo personally ayuu dhaamaa af Soomaaligiisa
war kuwaan dhalu dhaamaa maxaa la dhahaa
so there you go. So what I'm trying to say is it gives us a feeling it gives us a certain, you know what I'm talking about. It touches you even though waqaf ajnabiya laakiin wuxuu ka hadlayaa luqadaadii hooyo ayuu ka hadlayaa.
It's good. We should colonize people.
No, we did colonize people. Like that's not my point. My point is, adan Arab aha I would have stayed Muslim. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
No, what I'm saying is it serves a purpose, bro.
Okay.
If people around the world are speaking your language, turning towards your place to pray and all of that, it gives you a sense of importance. So much fun.
Yeah.
Yo, Behodle, I need you to explain this, man. What are you trying to say?
I'm just before Behodle gets in there, I want to say I double down on Behodle right there. I don't need no ajnabi. You get to say Somali Wayne. Somaliland.
Thank you.
Let me add something. I think I see the opposite. Wallahi. Ninkani, he's trying to show our good bits. It's like somebody trying to give you da'wah to Islam without telling you all the other things. We've had to.
Nigga, we know our dirty laundry.
We got our dirty laundry.
Yeah, absolutely. We got our dirty laundry.
Yeah. I'm not good with music, but I didn't enjoy the music.
Oh, okay. حرام بالله هذا good music وحرام بالله هذا.
هذا معناه لسيدنا ومعناه هذا قوة الله.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I hate happy music. Whenever.
He's dark. This nigga is dark.
What did he say?
He doesn't like happy music. He said he doesn't like happy music.
والله اسكمد بانها بوهد انا بعلعل كان كهلا هيسها علعلك
I love that. I love that. I love that shit.
انا علعلك ديكفير نيك ديكفير لا ما تقانا هيسه Soomaaliya
no
ديكفير لا راها جرب بلدغيستا maxaa la rahaa waa like waa Soomaalida
waxaan joogay GMH may I ni sheege mar baan joogay iyo bohol is fine. I was in Granada, southern Spain, right? I went to go see a flamenco from the gypsies. So ما فهمي. The flamenco when he say and head may you say وعلاعل to the umpteenth degree. It's like alaal like it's the alaal of the alaal. It's so depressive. Like it's like I miss my like, and it's so like very feeling. So you're in a cave. I was in a cave in Granada, in southern Spain, and I was watching this woman and this man act out desperation, essentially. So there's a time and place for it. So I do like happy music is what I'm trying to say. Abdullahi Muhammad I do enjoy it. It's nice. Somalia دان حين سوما درك على نو وكل دوين على ندي وكل دوين على نبض دوما لنا لكن Somali ما نحنيها.
ماي بوهد لعنون كرعسنا إمك I was in Turkey وحن سويب سيد كمانكي اليوم جنسد على عالقة.
Well, Coco Jasmine said it best. They are going through emo phase. We had our teenage years. She took a dig at you.
Coco Jasmine.
Yeah, Coco Jasmine cracks me up, man. She's like, yo, you guys are teenagers.
Yeah. Life is sinusoidal. Life is like a wave. You go up.
But look at what Biladin said. He's like, isn't the Quran Muhammad's Allah? maxay naga siiyeen waxba naga siiyo
way naga ma siiyo maxaa la yiraahdaa iska cala calanada
iska cala calanada yeah so nikan eeg heesta waxay noo tusiyay GMH just so you understand
saanu yar qosol
ha may si aanu aragno markuu qof ajnabiya luqadeena ku hadlayo uu inaka naga hadlayo ninkaasoo kale ayaa Soomaalidu markay noqdaan aragtay maaha muslim yihiin saasoo kale bay u yihiin carabta ayaan jeedaa ujeedadu way dheer tahay GMH waa la socotay
waan ku fahmay kolka carabtuna waxaan anaku neelahay bay nagu yiraahin war waxaan maxay
war dhigeyso warbuhole Ciisa iyo GMH baan sheegi maayay I have uncles anigu adeeraan leeyahay markay when they're trying to make a strong point af Arabi bay ku bedelaan luqadooda af Arabi bay ku hadlaan you know, and then he's gonna say a string of words in Arabic, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh, this nigga speaking Arabic. Yo, he must be real. He must be for real right now." like that's the concept, and I know you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Like,
it creates authority.
Yes,
he knows what he's talking about. Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's authority.
Yeah, but like qofka carabka sidii noo arkaa sidii buu noo arkayaa markaas
sidaan anigu imika ninkan u arkayo unbuu inoo arkaya sooma
wiilkan jaydiin la yidhaahdo sidaan inaku u eeganay unbay inakan noo eega maxay kaa muhiimshiya that's I guess that's my point. Yeah,
I agree with you.
And Adam, so dhex galo, and for me this guy heestan what against Jadine. Well, I think he's from Ghana or something like that. meelahaas camal.
Ha, waa ree Ottawa weeyaan, waa ree Ottawa. Wuxuu ku jiray the Dean Squad. Group yar oo la yiraahdo Dean Squad buu ku jiray. Mid Caraba ayay ku jiray iyo laba Carab oo ku jiray isaga. Marka way kala tageen oo way shadlaayeen I guess. So okay, Soomaalidii buu ku soo dhigsanooday. Wuxuu yidhi ayaa madow oo Muslim ayuu yidhi. You know what happened, man. You know what happened.
But to be honest with you,
ayaa Muslim oo madow Soomaalidii way soo taagtay.
To be honest with you, the song itself, it has a lot of meaning.
Ciise oo had just so you know, abwaan Soomaaliya ayaa u qoray heesta. Isaga muu qoray.
qof Soomaaliya u qoray heesta.
qof Soomaaliya u qoray. Qof Soomaaliya u qoray heesta.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay. But like for me, I've listened to this song I think a few weeks ago. And for me, it brings out a lot of things which is deep within the Somali community. The things that he mentions is good. It has to be fantastic, to be honest with you. I like the song. It's a great song. It's a great music.
I like it's good music. It's good lyrics. Yeah.
He mentions a lot of things which is within the Somali community.
That's true.
I think he said Qabyalad Sulim or something like that.
Suliya, ha.
Get rid of it. Marwuxuu amaanay gabdhaha Soomaaliyeed. So there's a lot of good things which he mentioned, which is in a form. I think someone mentioned, said something about da'wah amal. And it's a form of da'wah to Somali people. Not a religious da'wah, but like
wadani da'wah, yeah.
Wadani da'wah. I think he also made a new song also as well.
Something
like that as well.
war hablaheenii buu usoo jeestay ninku
moogi gabar Soomaaliyeed intuu raadinayo waxaas yaa og
carabnimadii baa inagu soo baxday wakaas gabdhaha igu raadinaya iyo maxaa la
gabadhaani raadinayaan
carabnimadii baa wakaa inagu soo baxday markiisi
okay my know that you know what I can do why not daari karaya waxay soo baxday maanta maxaan ahay bis waa maxay August 8 Soomaa Shalatole soo baxday heestani marka heestan bal ila yar dhageysta waa hees
it's a good song as well he done
I actually didn't listen
to the one he done about Somalia that is much better, to be honest. That is more touching.
Okay, well let's listen to this one, see what he's saying, okay, and then we can come back and critique.
Money, don't go. I ain't never leaving you alone. Kale kani so. Coming to my life, cause so do. Money, don't go. I ain't never leaving you alone. Kale kani so. Coming to my life, cause so do. Kale, in a joke, head that don't tip, in a boat, baby, Kale. Iga wa, baby, Kale, Iga wale, Kale, ila joke, had that don't tip, ila boat, baby, Kale, Iga wa, baby, Kale, Iga wale. Yeah. Markanko alko wana yaba, I can't seem to get you off my mind. My Joshan karo fikir kaga. Same shit happens every time. Double telling marable. No whole other day, now we make a good couple. Y'all tryna take it to the hater every summer. One cool the guy, Kelly, I'ma get in trouble. Man, you don't go. I ain't never leaving you alone. Kelly, so. Coming to my life, cause so do. Man, you don't go. I ain't never leaving you alone.
Well, you guys get the point. And Coco kind of scared me a little bit, but she's right. YouTube playing videos. YouTube gods don't like that. That's true. But yeah, so this is habla hijabin. Oh yeah, maybe this is the qadr of Allah, but you know what I mean. Habla hijabin. Are you music video dhexgeliye maxaa ka odhan waxaas
si ku ogolaaday gabdhaha intii videoga soo
well
galaan
because bro what is the devil's favorite sin is narcissism vanity yeah
made in Canada
in my hometown cuzzy in my hometown
in Canada
yeah in Ottawa the capital city when jooga anigu so Ottawa yeah that's where this guy's from and so and I'll be honest with you, like in Ottawa, we sort of kind of run shit. That's Somali. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So
also like in Toronto, Ontario. That's where I used to live in East Scarborough.
The Toronto is just bigger though. Toronto, you guys, you know who's overshadowing you in Toronto? The Trinis, the Barbados, the Jamaicans. Like there's a lot more.
In Dixon or
who are overshadowing. They're mostly represented. Like in Ottawa, Somalis do.
Red province. Following Kenan Mahala, the 52nd state of America, had it. Maxaad ninka noogu daarteen
waxaanu ku tusanaa huna gmail show head waxaan ku tusanaa
waanu danin adag baan hee iska ka garanaysaa waxaan ninka nooga waalay waan
Your boy, talk to your boy, man. I can't talk to him. Talk to your boy, man. Makara, you go. No, Leah. I'm just showing them adidat ajnabiyya luqadeena ku hadlayaan dhaqankeena ka helayaan hablaheena ka helayaan so much better. I see that as I kind of understand marka aragtama adan Arab aha I can understand people adhering by my things as well. So that's why waxaan daaraya si aad u dhaqdhamisid markuu qof kale ka helo culture-kaaga uu horumaris u arko culture-kaaga.
But isn't that because he's Muslim? Isn't that the only
That's
reason?
correct. That's what I'm saying. He just looked at ayaa Muslim oo madow ayuu yidhi waayo Arab buu la joogay markii hore. And Arabtuba inevitably the racism by Malahala to say I'm completely speculating right now, but that's what I'm thinking happened. And then Huyus Idi, Aya Madowas or Muslima. They call Guso Ujuju the Hawaii and they are forehead brothers and sisters, Somalis. Yeah?
I'm sure this Guyana is a Muslim. They're like this.
Yeah, well, the Fulanis or the Ashantis are Muslim because they're tribes, man. Nigeria has Somalidu, they don't fuck around, man. Like Somalidu, like we do things. We're actually in the parliament. We're doing things, right? So I can understand how he would look at that as a good representation of Islam and African, right? The best marriage of Islam and African is Somalis. I don't know if you guys can debate that, but that's what I think.
No, I don't know. Like he's trying to make money from his music.
He's singing, bro. This guy's a rapper and a singer. Like, what do you expect? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and Somali music is very musically friendly. That's true, actually. Gogo Jasmine. You know what I mean? So, aduka halayo ma'an, aduka halayo wahfi'an. Like I don't know. It's nothing wrong, man. Like I said, again, I would rather that the Somali girls wear Somali Deccan clothing in the videos, but Muslim, so he's pushing that realm.
Isn't it just percentage, like the amount of girls, the amount of women that you can get? So the percentage, they're going to be just like that, somewhere.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Habla Somali badana like waxay weeyeen hablaha video gisa wa shareeranihiin and all that. Yeah. Highly educated girls, highly educated.
I don't agree with that one. قبل الشرير مكو أركن فيديو جيس. الشرير كودا صمو نقاب.
No, حجاب.
حجاب بكودا.
شرير وحوم قانا.
أنا أقول شرير وحوم قانا حجاب كانوا قانا شرير.
Okay, I see. لهجدا كل دونها.
نيو أنا أقول حنا جيبوتي ما كنا شعيسو يا من
Nowhere I'm from also.
مركا السلقاتو. Yeah, sometimes the war in Somalia was a blessing in disguise because Somali the ways back then. A lot of my friends were hammer. Some of that I would never have known them. I done Djibouti's good job. You understand what I'm saying?
Francis waa ku hadashaa marka.
Oh yeah, je parle français très bien. Hein.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Djiboutian.
Okay, well, there you go. There you
My
go.
wife is Amfor Djiboutian.
Man, Amfor's my brothers and sisters, man. We're Kushites at the end of the day, man. Like,
yeah.
aniga Afariga ku hadlo.
Afariga xitaa abiyo ya ku hadla Afariga. Anigu ayka maxafada baan yaqaanaa laakiin I don't know. Intaas ay iga dhintay aniga. I know as much Afari as I know Arabic.
But we know more Arabic than Afar. Afartana ka badan.
You know? But yeah, but Afar I have
waxa waa niga qoslin berigii maxaa la yiraahdaa 1960 dawladda laga sameeyay maxaa la yiraahdaa xamar ya waxa isku tagay Soomaali fara badan sidaas oo kale mid wuxuu ku hadlayay Faransiis mid wuxuu ku hadlayay Ingiriisi mid Talyaani kolkaas way isfahmi waayeen odagii hadraawi loo oran jiray magaciisa maxaa la yiraahdaa qoraaga
ahaa ka jeysan yahay guli waa wali ayuu yiri odaga hadraawi I love hadraawi man yeah riwaayad bismi riwaayadii ugu horeeyay kolkii uu soo baxay riwaayadda waxa la oran jiray like the title of riwaayadda waxa ahayd ma isfahamna inteenan wax wada qabsan kod dadkii baa iswada laayay mid baa bullshit iraha mid kale fan cool iraha mid kale iraha bas Soomaalidu isku haysteen dad wada yihiin un baa 10 af ku wada hadlay yeah so it took them a while waxay yiraahdeen war inteenan heshiin been wax ku heshiinin horta waa inaan isfahamnaa yeah so like most of us we don't even like wasau sheegay imka maxaa la yiraahdaa I was in Turkey tareen baan la socday gabdhaha Soomaaliya soo karo they had lost they were trying to figure out like where to like get off the train waan fahmayay gabadh kale ay la socoto waan u tilmaamay af Soomaaligan ku hadlayaan af Soomaaliga eeguna uu dhageer duway waasan ku yiri stoptan Soomaaliga sid walaal ta ku xigta ku dhaadhac ya gabadhan halowsan iyo saa ku yiri waxa igu jawaabtay waa dhaadhacuna degde nacala tulaa calaykum fulna maxaa afkayga u hagaajinaysaa horta soo kuma sheegin waxa doon like inaki ba xitaa like saasan isku haysanaa macab afka kolka la yiraahdo mid ba qoonay waa inaad sidan tiri no good waxay dhahdaa magaranaysaa GMHO no good deed goes unpunished adigina waxaas lahayd caawi miskiinada Soomaaliyeed yadna waxay ka tiri waraa lajada ka xun hagaaji bay ugu tiro degde hooyada iyo deg oo ku xanaaqi gaadhayba ya waxa ku yiri Soomaalidu waxay la heshiin leedahay waa taas afkayga ma fahamtay jeedadeeda ma fahamtay ya iska dhaadhac
like it could be like see that ama ku si dag somo
it's the same
anigu waxa oran lahaa dada waxa kala dhacdo ka dara Djibouti hade dada
laysa xaqan kale deg baa la yiraahdaa Soomaali aniga ahayd ay ugu tira halka ku deg waan iska degi lahaa
balaayna kala haysata laakiin Soomaali lahay هذا صومالي لهني بلاينا كلا هيسته لكن
Soomaalidana sax kana imika like hadda tagtid af Mayga mandarkin
Mayga oh my goodness yeah I heard that it sounds like Somali but it's not Somali
may waa af Somali hadda duuxdid waa af Somali like kelmadaha hadda duuxdid waa af Somali lahjada yar adag waxbay ku yar dardara like waa af Somali really waa af Somali like linguistically hadda linguistic waa af Somali laakiin sidoo kala duwan yahay kolkii aan af Soomaaliga sameeynay iyo lagu heshiiyay afka ugu dhexdhexaadka ah inaynu qaadano kaana wuxuu ahaa dadkii kolka maamulka hayay bari dadka ka yimaada afkoogii baa la qaato laga dhigay maxaa la yiraahdaa so but that like imika the taasa noqotay like hegemony waabad halowsan tahay maxaad afkayga u saxaysaa
ya qosolniyo
waa saacadan
af maxaa tiri
materi iyo my iyo materi wala dhaqaa inaku waxaan ku hadlaynaa afarteenani materi ayaan ku hadalnaa
inaku waxaan nahay geel jirade qolada maxaa la yiraahdaa dadka
yo man big ups to the Gales man the Gales are brothers man
geel ba halkaas ka gaal kelmad la yiraahdo halkaas ka timidaan maqlay waa qofka geel lahayn ya gaal
waa anigii ku sheegay gaalku waxa weeyaan hade waa gaalawa ay ka timid gaalawa waxa ka dhigan tahay geel buu leeyahay waa geel buu leeyahay marka gaalaha inaka aan Soomaali nahay geel waan leenahay marka haddaan Soomaali ahay gaal ma noqon karayo bade by definition
laakiin sidoo waxaan ku oran jirnay gaale dadka beero qodotada ah like in Somali badan oo beero qodataa jirta
warun
dadkaas iyaynu ku bilownay horta
anigu waxaan doonayaa imika intaan research ku sameeyo and you guys can tell me what you think laakiin waxaan doonaya intaan research ku sameeyo the whole Midgaan myth comes from Somali waxaan anigu maqlay diinta Islaamka.
It's a can of worms, bro.
Huh?
It's a can of worms,
It's a can of worms and a half, yes, but you know, you know me, man. I don't shy away from that. I want all the smoke.
When you say Midgaan, are you talking about also like Tumal as well? Is that related to it?
Tumal waxaa loogu yeedhaa because they were forgerons bay ahaayeen maxaa la yidhahdaa and they were blacksmiths bay ahaayeen soo waxbay tumi jireen markaasaa Tumal loo bixiyey Midgaanna waxaa loogu bixiyey they were being killed actually after because they didn't want to accept Islam midgo waxay ka dhigan tahay mid kasta go so mid baa dhintay ka dhigan tahay midgo
do you know what I reckon?
That's where actually the whole world
mid baa go'ay
mid baa go'ay midgo
maanta igu soo dartay waxaan kugu lahaa afkeennay wax kasta ku jiraan
meesha way ku hey
Soomaaliga haddaad duuxdid wax kastaad ka dhexeli
markaad magaciina markaad farax markaad tiraahdo farax waad faraxsan tahay soo maaha farax waxaa ka dhigan tahay waa ray of sunshine bay ka dhigan tahay soomaalia farax ray of sunshine farti racna waa cadcadda weeyaan فرح حكت كتير مركا فرح وحاجة مثلا عند a ray of sunshine which means عند happiness and all of that so it's a ray of sunshine so لغدي إنه وحاكو حيران حكمة بدن أو إنكو أنا كدي بسكو في الصنوية أو إنكو دي بسكو بعدنا أيام تاجنا
هذه جامعات بانفورية will you guys fund it
I will go to the classes Jimmy I'm gonna go. I think Isa Sora Idona. We're gonna put on our suits.
But wait, Jiran, like Mal Dawid Wahanarke, Gabard Wahanarke, she is at Harvard. She's doing a PhD on Somali history. Was Gabard Somalia?
I have a friend of mine. I have a personal friend of mine, and what she's actually doing is she's actually translating Gabayeni Somaliyed, aye transliteration Kusamanasa or Goresa.
Yeah.
Why our history is locked up in these gabays. We're a nation of poets. So most of our history, our folklore, our Deccan is locked up into these gabays.
Yeah.
And because we didn't write our shit. So now markay qorqorto and publishes it. So Malinimadu imika get in on the ground floor bantaganay. Our stock might be low right now, but it's about to take off real fast.
Where are we buying these stocks?
You have to believe in yourself. That's how you buy the stock. You know what I mean? You already got the stock, bro. You already have it. You already own it. Yeah, you already got the Bitcoins.
On that note, there is a new calendar that's being published about Somali history, about a Somali calendar. That's Somali calendar. In some calendar can we like the miladi this like Gregorian calendar 2021.
Yeah. The Gregorian
Islamic calendar 1400. They just made a calendar. It's being published. وحن صعنا سنة كي 6,300 something in the Somali history.
Right.
Yeah, and it's being published, and they named all the months, and it's based on so the winters and the summers and the months and all of that, and it's coming out. It's being published. Like 5 academic Somalis did it. And
in the meantime, like we have a family WhatsApp group. Bonani Musulman Baligwiri. Happy Islamic New Year. Marka waxaan soconnaa qarnigii waxaan soconnaa sanadkii 1443 hijra ayaan soconnaa yeah and I'm like bro waan ka qosliyaa markasta waan ka tocsiday waxaan ku yiraahdaa adeero we're in 2021 catch up ayaan ku yiraahdaa he always gets pissed off at me Ugly 1443 when joognaa I'm like nigga I'm already in the future what the hell 1442 maanta la isoo diray maaha waxaa lagu leeyahay maaha happy Islamic New Year man I don't know man Isa you know you have to
I don't know what sanadka ku jirno even if it's 2020 it's like Gregorian
Gregorian calendar. So yeah, it's but at least that one is more advanced than 1443.
No, but it's based on something. Maha, that's also religious. It's based on Jesus. Isa, adigay ku maalinta dhalatay ku
maalinta dhalashada adigu weeyaan. Adigu waagdi
what exact time that we're living in, whether it's 2021 or 1490. Each one, someone has made it up.
Yeah, but it's made up based on something. Well, it's made up. Everything is made up of human construct. You're right. But تاريخ مال بيكبلام تين كهجرجو وكبلام ده معناتي نبي هاجر ما like كان ميلادي جو وكبلام نبي عيسى كل قدس وانا نكون شيء مثل سوماليا اللي سميوه لحكم من صعنا بوجان أي كقرن رجل محل الصومالي دو would tell you why did they choose Malintas.
But like if it's 6,000, تاريخ الصومالي دل it's more than 6,000. It's 9,000.
To 9,000, 10,000 years, man. Yeah.
I mean, like 9. But they have to start from somewhere. ما يمكن عرب.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
عرب تبوي جيران before هجرة الصومال. But تاريخ ده واحد كابل عبين Malintas ما. Like the Western world كمية بلابين with Rome or كمية بلابين with like the Greeks واحد كابل عبين Jesus. Somehow there's a reason. So like with these guys, what they did is like they said Somali hadana like Somali nima the world already. There's this whole debate like people Somali nagadiga somehow. Why are
that is a
Somali?
Good conversation. Do you think we should have that conversation, JMH? Do you think we should have this conversation?
We should have it. We should have it because
what do you think?
I think it's amazing. It's amazing.
Right?
Why إنه كهذا
because why أنا waxaan eega أنا شخصية عن سكهالله Somali-nimadeeda, and I'm not gonna lie to you, but like Somali-nimadeeda waxaan helay markaan baraarugay markaan idhi okay whoa I see the game that's being played in this world here. It's all about power dynamics. Markaan arkay aan diinta aan ka u arkay I was just another man that came up with this stuff, and I don't need another man to tell me about God because hey qalbigaygu jira, right? Like I'm a spiritual person, so I'm like I don't need another motherfucker to tell me about God. I know God. You know what I mean? No, but I mean if I do I would leeyahay we also have done if I speak Islamic to you, Isa, there's a whole concept of fitra. Fitra is you know what I mean? It's everybody. It's not just some people. Right? So I would that they separately and so that's kind of how I think about it, right? I'm not I don't go too far into it, but that's how I kind of look at it.
Yeah.
That's when I discovered Somali. لكن مركي دمي وحان أرك GMH هذا نين وحان هاي Somalia ولكن جيبوتي بانخودش. جيبوتي بانخودش I have a specific frame of reference for Somali Nemo. So marka frame of reference kaas waa Djibouti waa waqooyiga, right? And then I came to Canada and I started learning like people my baa jira Somali Swahili ku hasha jirta Somali maxaan ku xamar ka timid, and then and these are my brothers right now, but laakiin markaan isbaranay qosolka ka dhamaanaya waayo isma fahmin. mid baan weydiiyey mid saaxiibanaho Soomaaliya oo reer xamara ayaan weydiiyey ma ha waryaa in warsamatan in xakaad gashaabaan ku yidhi waraade miyana xishoonin biigi maxaad iga weydiinaysa xakaan galo what the hell baan ku yidhi I want to know inta ku yimaadaan doonaya what the hell ma xakaad degan tahay ayaad weydiinaysa just took it like sexual and shit. I'm like what the fuck. Like I said Soomaalida xakama isku barteen si fiican the amount of jokes between Soomaalida reer Djibouti iyo Xamraawida iyo reer Geesa, it's hilarious.
Nino madaa su'aal ku weydiiyo adoo raali ka marka Canada timaaday ma isla leedahay waa markaa isbedeshay ama maankaaga furmay
anigu Canada waxaan imid anagoo sagaal jira walaal ciyaal baan iska ahaa somadan sagaal jir baan ahaa markaan and I grew up in Montreal baan kusoo koray somadan marka no as a matter of fact I'll give you a little story, okay? waxaan tagay
Isa ma waxaad u jeedaa maankiisa xagga diinta mise
all of that including from how you became what you are now? Is it because marka ka tagtay what do you call Djibouti ma isbedeshay? Do you think Djibouti da ku noolaan qofka hadda tahay wali ahaan lahayd?
I think you're right, because then Djibouti ku noolaa imika yaa somehow I wouldn't have any reasons to somehow to compare things.
Yeah,
because everybody would be the same thing.
Isa ana reer Djibouti baan ninkan Djibouti ma halaynin hadduu Djibouti ku noolaa saraata muslimiin iska joogi lahaa.
Wara. Isa dhegeyso
walaalkay. Cambarin leeda taqaan.
Isa dhegeyso. GMH wuxuu leeyahay siraatul mustaqiim, anigu waxaan idhahdaa jidka waaqa.
Okay.
We each have our version walaalkay. Waxa ku leeyahay laakiin that was not it. I was 9 years old, bro. Marka, I went to a Catholic school actually, and in the Catholic school, they would always stand up at the beginning of class, and they would say, "Oh, the Lord, Savior." They would say their things. Some of it.
Yeah.
What I knew, I sat down. Man, so okay. Sagajir banaha de so. Sagajir banaha one for this say. Marka su the Mister the teacher. Yeah, are you not standing up? What's going on? Be good. Some of it. Marka sa kuidi. Oh. No, je suis musulman. That means like, I'm Muslim. That's what I told him. And then he told me, yeah, but just out of respect, maybe you can just stand up and you don't have to say anything. And then I stood up. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then I stood up. It's just to kind of out of respect. But like I had the zeal of Islam in me from that point. Bro, that was not it. That was not the reason. The reason was I got into debates. And I got into debates to defend Islam. So that forced me to read the Quran and the Hadiths.
Yeah.
And that was the downfall of me, Islamically.
Oh.
I actually read the things that I said I believed. Because I read the things that I said I believed before, and I've never read them before. And so markaan akhriyay wixii wax badan baan akhriyay oo ii cuntami waayey oo ii dhami waayey oo my being was not accepting it. Marka mid bay noqotay, either I kind of look facts in the face, amba I become a munafiq. Marka I opted to be a murtid. I opted to be a murtid instead of a munafiq. That's how you should see me.
Hopefully you're not saying that I'm that kind of person.
I'm not at all. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about my experience, Asa. Because I know this is a personal thing. I know this is a personal journey, Asa. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think this is a personal journey for everyone to be there. What I care more about today was that you and I can build our people together. We can actually have conversation. I don't care what your beliefs are, and you don't care what my beliefs are. But as long as I look at your kids as my own, and you look at my kids as your own, that's how a nation prospers. That's how a people prosper.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah.
So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm gonna look at them as my own, my blood, and that's why I say Qabyalid is also a poison. I'm gonna have to look at them as my own blood so that we can get ahead. Canada won the number 2, the 5,000 meters at the Olympics in Somalia.
Canada, judo, something like that.
5,000 meters. He got the silver. You know what I mean? Was Somali. The number 1 champion was the UK. Was Somali. So think about this for a second. Like the world champion for marathoning, Mo Farah, was Somali. Ahmed Mohamed was Somali. You know what I mean? Was Somali, but like we were coming into doing our own things, but for different countries. I want to be able to do it for our own country, East Africa.
I think
podcast, but they receive funding. The training by Helen. Somali waxas kama jirto. Recently, I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a documentary on Al Jazeera about the Somali women's national team marathon. The Golden Girls or something like that. Government is refusing to fund them, refusing to give them any help. So, let's just record about it.
See, a lot of the times, for example, it's related to sports, and but
they use
exactly. I don't know if you heard about a story of Daniro, or I think they were playing sports or something.
Yeah, Warren. Yeah.
Recently, I think a few weeks ago, this happened. ما فهمت بصل ugu qarxi kuwii argagixisada oo dadka qarxinaya ku qarxi and these kids were trying to
Where was
this is in Somalia Mogadishu
I think it was last week.
Yeah, Mogadishu
tired or people just dying fuck
yeah, they were just going out to do some sports and they were والقرحي ما فهمت and then هدوتي والو تعسينايا and الله إلهي ونحرسته this and this and then it just continues from there onwards the root problem ما tackle جرينا ما فهمت where this is coming from
bro man
sports yeah go ahead
continue
yeah so sports is very important for Somalis but like it's also important for Somalis to do other things as well to be recognized for other things for invention for coming up with things for example obviously they're not in that level yet but like inti wax soo saaran kale as well not just sports
the highest ranking Somali dignitary is in Canada. We have the minister Ahmed Hussein. So like Ahmed Hussein is he's in the parliament in the Canadian parliament, yes.
Yeah.
And he was actually, I was laughing because I do stand-up comedy too, right? I was laughing because he was the minister of immigration. I'm like, you guys fucked up. You put a pirate as minister of immigration. You have no idea what's coming. But we had this guy, Ahmed Hussein, who I met. He's a great guy, an amazing guy. I met him and he's a great guy, but he's the highest Somali dignitary.
Yeah.
So we are, when you look at the arts, one of my favorite painters in Canada, Gabar Somalia the way in. Like the painting she does is, I love art, so the painting she does is out of this world. So Kena Anokale, he's rapping. We have an amazing singers. Bro, when it comes to actually doing what we do, Somalis have no fear.
Yeah.
They have no fear. It's just that there's something else that comes in.
I would ask you a question. I mean, there are English people in Australia. Some Australian can learn how English. England joga wa English. Canada joga wa English. Dad maxaa la yiraahdaa Carabo waxaa jirta Suuri la yiraahdo oo Masaari la yiraahdo oo maxay la yiraahdaa so really we have to ask ourselves imka adigu what you're doing some of these people like they may genealogically be Somali but are they culturally Somali waa maxay Somali
that's the thing.
There's a lot of things so like don't lump because some of them will disagree with you.
I'm not though, GMH. I'm not though. I'm حكا كجوحيو حويان هذا. Somali nimadinu. It's enough.
Yeah.
We are able.
I think what you're saying, there's the capacity for people who call themselves Somali to excel in everything around the world.
Absolutely. If there's a message I'm trying to throw out there, it's exactly that. And you know why I'm doing it, GMH? I got two boys, bro. anigu ciyaalkayga ma doonayo intaan u koriyo intay ka gabadaan Soomaalinimadooda Soomaalinimadooda intay ku adkaystaan ma doonaya ay ku farxaan ay ku adeecaan ay ku qancaan that's what I want ciyaalkayga sameeya like anigu I remember growing up being a Somali was not like you know what I mean it wasn't the best thing you know what I mean I paid that price I don't want my kids to be paying that price still so waxaan doonaya Soomaalinimadeena intaan dib u soo qabsano aan orno war Soomaali baan nahay taariikh baan leenahay dad jirayba ayaan ahayn wax dunida xaqan ka gali lahayn waa inaan imika sameeyno weeyaan waayo dunida wax badan baan u tarnay wax badan ayaan u tarnay so I just want us to take our rightful place man as Somalis I mean I don't think that's any I'm not downgrading anyone else. I'm just trying to big up Somali name or well, okay.
That's a good thing. aniga waxa aaminsanahay Somali intii noqon karto East Africa superpower or no Africa way noqon kartaa. It can be the leading what it was actually. Ma fahamta waqtiga siyaad bare ee baa naxariistay. You know his time. Ma fahamta marka it can become maxaa dadka Soomaalidu way soo kici karaan laakiin waxay ku xiran tahay aqligooda inta la bedelo maskaxda ay ku xiran tahay wax kasto qofka maskaxdiisa duu bedelo oo cabsida iyo waxyaabuhu ku jiro iyo dhaqanka lagu xiray iyo diin iyo waxaas camal qofka wuu isbedeli karaa ma fahamtay marka taas waa waxa ugu muhiimsan qofka maankiisa iyo aqligiisa furo su'aalo isweydiiyo ma fahamtay intuu cabsanin oo wax kasto qofka intuu ka shakiyo ma fahamtay whoever it is.
Can I ask you guys a question at the video? I disagree with what I don't think it's necessary waxaan oo singers iyo musicians or anything. Let me give you 2 examples. Hadda fiiri waddanka la yidhaha Switzerland ama Austria wax lagu yaqaano banooni kubadda laguma yaqaano singers laguma yaqaano laakiin still waxay leeyihiin dastuur adag qarannimo wadannimo. So to me it's not necessary in waddankaada ay kasoo baxaan the best runners, the best rappers, the best this. Waxaas waa show.
Okay.
I think I'd rather have a good interior inner side and have nothing outside than have a fantastic polished exterior thing and have cushion inside.
I know what you mean. You know what I like to say, Bohol? That's what I like to say is you can't have a Hugo Boss suit with dirty underwear.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't be running around with a nice Hugo Boss suit and have dirty boxers underneath. No, man, you should have the lady. You should clean your underwear. You know what I'm saying?
يهود ما have some. They're not rappers. Like they produce intellectual somehow. What they call the
That's what I mean.
Yeah, so it's not necessary. We need to have Mo Farah running for England. To me, it's good. Like
Mo Farah went and ran with Musabihi when Musabihi was the president in Somaliland and all that. But why is it that our Somali, what's her name, the boxer in the UK, Ramla? Yo, that girl is representing the UK. Like this girl can throw down. She represents the UK.
She's a boxer.
Yeah, bro. Amazing. You have to be young. This is a young sport, man. Young away, beautiful too. She's a beautiful girl, but she's she's a boxer for the UK.
I agree with Bohol. I think
she was actually on Elle magazine cover. She was on Ramla.
What I fear about us this with identity Somali I think we are going and really our Achilles heel Somali hadaynu nahay arkay yan waligeyn bajecleen hadan Somali nahay.
You think
part
so?
Of our DNA. Yes, there's a lot of it. حتى baadiyaha kolkaynu joogi jirnay. You know? But maxaa kolkan reerka ku soo noqon islaamaha waan leyn jirnay.
What? Man, I never put my finger on any woman, man. Come on,
man. We have to really be honest about So
لكن hablaha Soomaaliyeed geesiyiin baa loo ogaaniyo marka arawala ka hadashidiyo markaad ka hadashidin maxaa ka daayay magaceedii maxay ahayd ashtuka maxay arawala markaad ka hadashidiyo like Somali women are not and they don't take shit, man. Come on.
I agree, but daqamiyan
how
on average like there's I think what you're saying and what Buhodla was trying to maybe caution us against is the collective goodness is better than individual stars in things.
African American Somalican. They got rappers, they got NBA stars, like NFL. They have problems.
Of course they do.
Yeah. But they even have I don't even compare ourselves. I think we're eons beyond them because I know I live in America, man. Yeah? These people, what they have been through, I don't know.
No, they paid them dues.
Yeah,
they paid the dues,
and they survived, and they have a culture. Maraykanka, Adanko incorporated a lot of who they are into American culture, and that's America. And now they bamboozled them. But there's structural things. yes, there are like external powers that puts it down. One of them is waxaan ka hadlayno. Diintani Arabtu is one of them. Yeah,
that's true.
The external structures that like keeping us down is one of them. But really, internally, we have also all these like shortcomings that wayna ka digtoonaanaa when we don't want to go from one hole to another hole. Haddaan Araban ka tagno, war Soomaalinimo uma ku noqonaya because Soomaalinimadu waa everything is good and dandy. We're gonna fall into another hole.
No, that's true. But at the same time, in GMH had it. I'd rather own my ancestors' flaws and upgrade that than own another person's ancestors and try to upgrade that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you on that.
So I'd rather upgrade my own people's shit.
I agree with you on that. Yeah. So let's find someone who's Somali.
It's in your DNA, GMH. It's in the DNA of Isa. It's in the DNA of Bole. It's in your DNA. It's in my DNA. Somalia danahay. After Ragbanahay Mika on the panel.
Really?
After Megalodin Kalajoga. Yeah, Kazi. I completely believe that.
I don't think I'm Somali until now.
I guess that's what I
look at your instincts, Bohole. Look at your instincts. Look at the way you do things. Look at the way yourself. It's written in your essence, Kazi.
What would you say it is?
Sorry, Kosa. waxaan ku dari lahaa tafiiri Soomaalida. Hadda UK daa fiirisid waxaa jooga dad oo that live in the south, then you have people that live in the north. Kelimada different bay isticmaalaan, mana isku qoslaan. Anaga like the Somali nahay. Hadda you've seen these Somali challenges on YouTube.
Yeah, but you know what? You know who should always win those? Or Djibouti. You know why?
I knew
you were gonna like that, GMH. So you know what? I'll completely fuck it around, man.
Why let's go qosla? I don't understand that, nigga.
Yeah.
One minute doolan tahay. Hadda Djibouti joogtid heerde marka toiletska waxaan waxaa oran doonaa kaniifkan galaya kaniifka.
Okay.
Qof xamraawi yiri kaniifku it means something completely different for them. Is war maxaa tiri and it's a scandal. War maxaa tiri. Kaniif I think it's the women's private parts. I think it's I swear to you. Yo, these are real stories I'm telling you.
I can answer your question like the question you just asked. Why do we do that?
What was scared checking doonaaye. Like guys, let me just end the stream now. And then I'm gonna wrap up the stream, but you guys stay there. Don't move. Stay there. And I want to thank Coco Jasmine, Kali, Abdullahi Muhammad, everybody that were in the chats. You know what I mean? Thank you for everyone that came through. So and as we always say, Somali Nimo till we demo. So peace out.